Hey.
Here we are, all three of us.
Ryan, we can't hear you.
Your audio is missing, bro.
Ryan.
That's because my mic was not on. All right, we're going to start again.
Duh. What a way to start. We're golden.
Yeah. All right, so here we are again. 4 nerds. Actually, 3 nerds right now. So Sil will be joining us later, I'm sure, unless he's having internet issues. With special guest today, Lightcast. We'll get with him in a bit. First off, how are you guys doing? How are you feeling today? Got 14 people in the chat. Hit that like button. Share it on Twitter. It's a really good show. We just really want to make sure that everybody is aware. Go right ahead. Start off nerdy.
Absolutely. Great to be here. And yeah, it's going to be a great show because like all you guys know in the chat that Matt from Lightcast has been a great supporter of the Snyder Cut movement, as well as just a great source of information along with Taylor from the Culture Nerd. And so we're excited to talk with him today, get to know him a little bit better, as well as just, see what we can learn.
All right, Zod, how you doing? I mean, I know you're comfortable on that couch. You're just like, I'm just here for
right. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight, guys. I'm excited. We got a great guest gonna join us on the panel tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I've always been a fan of Matt and Lightcast, so this should be fun.
All right. Yeah, like I said, Sil will be joining us hopefully. If he remembers that we're broadcasting, he's been advertising it all week. So well, without further ado, let me go ahead and grab our special guest. I won't make him wait too long.
There we go.
Matt?
How was the wait, Matt?
It was pretty good, man.
Good?
I was drinking
cool.
water.
Cool.
All right, we're prepared. We're ready to go. So the chat is heating up right now. Let's see. Let me jump in here real quick. Just say hello to Nicotina.
Absolutely, Nicotina. That's a good guy right there. Yeah, South Cali guy too. Wow.
See,
that one, Carlos.
What's up, dude?
That's my dude right there.
And Bat Dan 530 starting right away.
Just the big questions. Let's see. Yeah, he's on that couch. Definitely.
Absolutely. Always.
Pass. Let's see. Nicotina. Yeah, again. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to go to Back Dan's question because, I mean, he always brings in the heat, and we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. If we confirm the news Ben Affleck was returning for a certain amount of movie before retiring the cape and cowl permanently, what would be your wish list before his retirement as Batman?
Ooh. Again, he always brings the great questions. I mean, seriously.
I agree. But what's your answer, Zod? We'll go Zod first.
Oh, well,
Zod,
thank you.
You just look like you got your answers ready. You're already just sitting back on the couch.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I think that as long as Ben Affleck gets to complete Zack Snyder's arc like he originally intended when he signed up for the role, I'll be happy. There's no specific number of movies that I think he should or shouldn't do. It would definitely be nice to see him make that Deathstroke movie. I think that would be something that fans will definitely benefit from, and everybody will be happy. But I'm all in for Batfleck, and as long as Snyder needs him, I think he'll be there.
Yeah. And Matt from Lightcast, what are your thoughts?
I mean, we know he's coming back as Batman. That's obvious. So, like, if we know that he's coming back, where would he go? I think he wants to finish the arc. I think he wants to finish his story and move on. But I think more importantly, like, he only took the role to play Batman and direct Batman. And I think once that is his true arc, like I said, Batman should never be Batman forever. There should always be different Batman because there's always going to be different interpretations. That's why I'm excited to see Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
awesome.
And I think with
Dawson.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Helicopter. I'll never mind.
With my wish list is just again to see Ben Affleck's story with him versus Deathstroke in the movie that he pitched, and of course the one that Jay Oliva has been saying that is the best Batman script he's ever read.
Yeah.
I just want to see that awesome story. I want to see, a full movie where we see a lot more of Ben Affleck and Jeremy Irons' Alfred. I want to see their interactions. I want to see their chemistry a little bit more because I really like what I saw in Batman v Superman and the little teeny bit that may have been Zack Snyder's that remained in Justice League.
Yeah.
I just really like how they connected there and how they just seemed very believable. And I just want to see more of that and just to see Ben Affleck kick some more butt. I just want to see him destroy people.
Now, I'll ask Matt this. Do you think that because it was a collaboration effort between Ben and Jeff Johns, and they had some issues on behind the scenes, do you think that that's still the story that's going to go forward, or do you think that they're going back to rewrite and start from scratch?
No, I don't think they're going to go start from scratch. They have a great premise. I think that when Ben was writing and then he was getting notes from Johns and then it was a back and forth game, yeah. I think anybody in their right mind, like me, I'd say, fuck it. Whatever, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. And he never left the role. And I think that's the misinterpretation that a lot of people had, is that he never said, fuck it, I'm done as Batman. I'm no longer doing. He did a Jimmy Kimmel skit, and we all know Jimmy Kimmel and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. If you ever watch Jimmy Kimmel, it's more of a, like, I'm not Batman. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's that questionable. And even I questioned it. Like, Ben Affleck is not going to pass up the biggest nerd moment in his nerdy life. He's a nerd as much as anybody else.
But I can definitely see that he did lose some fervor for the role, for the just for the interactions that he was having. He was like, you know what, like you said, fuck it, I'm done. This is just not fun for me anymore.
No shit. I would not want to be part of anything that I'm getting berated every day after multiple people tell me that this is a great script, and this guy keeps coming to me with more notes for something that I'm the director and I'm writing it with a great team, and I'm sitting here getting barraged again and again to make it the way they want. Like, that's not really creative freedom. That's more of like creative control. Like, you're trying to control my creativity and my talents for your gain. Like, I would walk away.
Yeah. That's what I keep telling people is like, there's a bunch of people that are on different videos, and I tell them like, hey, I'm pretty sure Ben Affleck's coming back, and people comment like, dude, he confirmed it, and I'm just like, well, first and foremost, you have to understand, kind of like what you're pointing out, Matt, is that Ben Affleck was being just barraged with these things. He was being pushed down, and his good friend Zach was cheated out of his full vision. He basically lost 2 children at that time in his life.
Well, I mean, come on, people said Zack Snyder's Justice League's not going to come out.
Exactly. That's the perfect example there. We can get if we're getting Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's pretty safe to say that we're going to get that Ben Affleck Deathstroke. That's it all goes together. It's all hand in hand, and it's all part of one vision. So
yeah. All right, let's get some of the another couple questions that I see here in the chat. We'll get Jesse Allen. Do you think Burton Keaton will return to round off the trilogy? If so, what villains do you think they would cast? You know who I would pick. So Matt, we'll go to you first. Who would you cast? And if they did one, which Burton's probably not coming back, but who would you cast in a Burton sort of universe for Michael Keaton's Batman?
Like, if they were just to say, hey, let me finish one more film for shits and giggles.
Right.
I'd fucking Polka Dot Man. That'd be funny.
That's in Suicide Squad. You can't have him twice. You have 2 versions of Polka Dot Man, but 1 version of Wonder Woman.
Let's go. You know what? Then I'll go pick. I'll pick Clayface. I think Tim Burton would do a great Clayface.
Yes,
that would be amazing.
That's actually one that I kind of wanted for Pattinson's, because it's a detective movie, but I can definitely see that with Tim Burton working out actually a little bit better, because Tim Burton's way of imagery and how the type of characters that he deals with, Clayface would be a good one.
Yeah. Zod,
I want to see Tim Burton tackle Scarecrow. Because I think that they could get Robert Englund or or Jackie Earl Haley to play Scarecrow, and it would be crazy.
You would just go for the Freddy Kruegers,
or here's somebody that might be controversial casting for the role.
Don't say Kevin Bacon.
Wow, you read my mind. Oh my God, yes, Kevin Bacon.
I loved Kevin Bacon as a villain role, but I loved him when he was what's his face from X-Men First Class.
Shaw.
Yeah, Sebastian Shaw.
I think the reason, but I just think that a Scarecrow would work really well as a villain in
definitely work
in the Tim Burton verse, and plus you can get you can mess with fear, so you can play with all kinds of things. You can have flashbacks from other, Batman Batman stories. You can have, you could even have that Jack Nicholson cameo that everybody wanted, if Jack Nicholson would be willing to come out of retirement to do it. But
I think if what's his face from Bill and Ted, Keanu Reeves could survive the fall from John Wick 3, then Jack Napier could survive the fall from Batman.
I'm saying that if it was Scarecrow, it would be a fear illusion of the Joker. It wouldn't be the actual Jack Napier coming back. It would just be a fear inducement kind of a thing, and it would kind of take Batman back to that. It'd be kind of cool to see. I would also like to see Tim Burton tackle Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton. I think that would be a wonderful continuation of that.
I'm cool with Batman or Tim Burton taking on Batman and things like that. But as far as like taking on other DC characters, I don't know, man. You tell me. I don't think he's the man for the job.
Well, at least he had the mullet.
I can see that.
I would love to see them bring back Billy D and give me a little bit of a Two-Face, man. Because
that's very possible.
In the Rise of Skywalker or whatever, he's kind of like Carrie Fisher. They had to like wheel him around, because he can't get around very well. But if they could sort of play around that, do some face swapping, hire somebody to be a body double and just like.
Have you seen the Face app? You've seen the Face app, right? It's possible. It would be possible to make. It would be possible to make Billy D look a little bit, younger and have the more, the more classic look that he had from the 90s. Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see that. But you brought up the Scarecrow, which I think is amazing. I didn't contemplate that. I was like, the Scarecrow that was in the Nolan trilogy just didn't do it for me. I was like, you're a dude in a sackcloth, and that's it, and you're wearing a business suit below. That's retarded.
I just love how Matt knew.
I thought the costume was ridiculous.
I love how Matt knew that I was going to say Kevin Bacon as my third choice. See, this is how I know that Matt and I are meant to be good friends, because Matt can like see these things and like, don't say Kevin Bacon. That's awesome.
You were picking.
Well, he sees you laying on the couch. He's like,
why are you sitting on a couch? That's cool, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I have two couches in my small apartment, and anywhere else that I try to sit wouldn't be good for the camera, so I kind of prefer. So that's why I sit on this couch.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's fucking brilliant. I'm over here sitting on a stool.
Right. We have lights on us, and we're
nice and comfortable
chairs, sweating. Yeah. I get up in a pool of
sweat. I got a light. I got a light on me. If I didn't have the light, you wouldn't be able to see me too well, because the lighting in my apartment is pretty bad. But
the mood lighting. Well, Josh Fraser says hello from the UK. Hello, Josh.
Hey, sorry guys.
Let's see.
But real quick, I did have a question for Matt. I know him and I had talked about this a little bit, and I basically know your answer about this. But talking about Michael Keaton and the whole Batman thing. I know your thoughts about this, but I want everybody else to hear your thoughts about all these rumors and reports that Michael Keaton is signed on for 8 films. Batman.
That's the short list.
Because, what the heck is that?
Yeah. Where did that come from?
I don't think they have 8 ideas for him.
Multiple different articles online, actually.
Which people wrote it?
Gosh, I'm trying to remember.
We've got you covered.
They ran my Superman. So I was just talking about this on my Let's Talk, and I made it very clear. I was like, I wanted to prove a point. And my point was very simple: not to believe everything you see online and take it as gospel. And you got to do your research. You got to do your due diligence. You have to, in a sense, look to the evidence and find what fits the data that warrants the claim. And I said, fuck it. Everyone's talking about this. I was talking with an IG friend, and I said, you know what? I'm going to post this and say that fucking Nicolas Cage is going to return as Superman. And now look, it's on We Got This Covered.
That is awesome.
I totally agree. I said in my I think I said in my video about Michael Keaton's Batman, I mentioned something that you also preach a lot, Matt, is to do your own research, to look into it, see what actually makes sense, and not just take everything you hear.
Better yet, not to cut you off, Dawson, but better yet, we should all just do like Matt and make up whatever rumors of anything we think would sound cool, because we know at least one or two outlets are going to run with it, and then maybe at some point it actually happens.
Well, you guys did hear the one, right? That Danny DeVito is going to return as the Penguin. He's going to play Penguin again. And he fucking died in the movie. He died. He slid down the thing into the pond. He
with the blue blood.
You know how many people die in the Burtonverse? It's insane. No wonder why I could see it being the perfect Batman Beyond, because in the Batman Beyond series, it's very dark. It's very Neo Gotham.
Yes.
It's very twisted. It almost reminds you of what is that? Akira would be for
there
a
you
Batman
go.
universe.
There you
That's
go.
what Batman Beyond should be.
That's perfect. That's the perfect analogy.
And
Matt, I love you, man. You just brought up my exact feeling about Batman Beyond that I've had for years. Connecting it to analogizing it to Akira makes perfect sense. Oh my God.
It all fits the same world, because in that dark twist, I remember watching the cartoon as a kid. I remember come home and watch it. Was I a fan of it? Probably not as much as I was a fan of the animated Batman. But
you're right. Well, the animated series was based off of Tim's, and that's why they got Danny Elfman, not Danny DeVito, Danny Elfman to do the intro music, because it was heavily based on, and that the first incarnation of the Penguin was based off of Danny DeVito.
Yes.
Just Mark Hamill's Joker was nothing like.
And if you go and you watch, that Return of the Joker animated movie that they did, that was dark as hell too. I mean, that took things to another level. You remember that, Matt? You remember that movie?
I remember that.
Dark as hell. Like it took it to a.
I like it when in Batman Superman, was it Batman Superman? They talked about the Phantasm. They brought up the Batman series, Ghost of the Phantasm.
They did.
Mask of the Phantasm.
The Mask of the Phantasm. Sorry, and they brought up that one. If anyone's watched that one, that's a very dark movie.
It's a brilliant.
And
movie,
it was a nice reference to that. And Zach does it very well, and Chris Terrio does a great job narrowizing. I was just reading an old review I did for Batman Superman. I'll probably post it on Vero just because I was reading it again, because I like to go back and read my shit because I'm bored or I'm just narcissistic. Who knows? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not a blogger or a scooper. So I look back at this idea.
Look at my greatness.
Yeah, right. Yeah, somebody look at
Rawhide.
you know what's funny? I printed out. I left it in the other office. I printed out the I think it was Jacob that sent it to me, the certificate for did you guys get your certificates?
No. The cloud certificate.
The cloud certificate. I printed mine out. I have it in a frame. It's in the other office.
I asked for one and I never got a response. I was like,
I'll ask him. I mean, he's a very nice guy. He'll probably make you one.
He is.
I'll get you some clout. So I thought it was interesting.
I'm gonna put it right here.
I need mine right here.
So much behind you. I need behind
right
you.
here.
Yeah, right behind the couch.
See this empty wall behind the couch? Yes.
So I brought this up, and it's Chris Terrio did a lot of research, not just in the mystery and the mythos of comic books. He did it in the mythos of generations of gods and monsters, all the way back to the beginning of how mythology works. And I felt like there's so much resemblance in Batman Superman that if we were to sit there and go second by second looking just for those elements, we'd find so much of that. Like the creation of Doomsday is almost like the creation of Gilgamesh in a way. It's his first coming to light, and then his connection to Ikados, which is the creator that creates another god to fit him, to put him in balance. And so we see these areas in this movie that are being like stamped throughout the film. And we go at it and we look at it like it's a piece of shit. And I sit back and I tell people, like, if you were to, like, if I had to make an assignment for you to go watch this film and find every little thing, wouldn't you have more appreciation for it?
That's what happens when I watch Batman v Superman, then I'll read through the Dark Knight Returns comic. Every time I read through the Dark Knight Returns comic, I see something that I remember from the movie, and like lines from Alfred or certain visuals that are in there. And when you read the source material that's based off of, again, like you just said, Matt, it gives you that appreciation. And that's why I think it's so funny when people try to bash BVS for not being comic accurate, when they actually told you up front before the movie came out, these are the comics you should read in order to understand what's being displayed for you. They even advertise it on comic books, on the back of comic books, like this is what you should read. It's like, duh.
Yes.
And if you do, yes. Glad that got to be used.
He does look Steppenwolf does look like him.
I think they're recording Liam before they I forgot the Syrian God, what is
Syrian Hines is his
Syrian
name.
Hines, yes. I think they're recording Liam before they ended up with Syrian Hines. But Syrian Hines is a good actor. I like him as well.
Yeah, he is.
I think that's they gave the art department. They were like, "Hey, here's Liam's likeness. Get that nose.
Get that nose.
I like get that. You got to get it perfect." Josh
Triangle.
is like, "I need that nose. I need that Joss nose."
That Joss nose. Jossness.
Let's see.
Oh.
Bat Dan always coming with the. Oh no, there's no question in this one. In the Crisis of Infinite Earths, they go to the Burton universe, and Alexander Knox, the reporter,
Alexander Knox.
Batman captured the Joker, and maybe he is somewhere alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to watch that again.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the Joker has a way of resurrecting himself. That's comic book. That's comic book authentic.
Yeah.
So if they were able to actually bring back Jack Nicholson's Joker for this upcoming story, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to accept. I mean, it's because it wouldn't be the first time that the Joker's come back to life. So.
Yeah. Well, that was see, Frank in the Fandom says Keaton Batman versus Cage Superman, dawn of the 90s justice.
Oh,
I could see it. I agree.
That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy.
I would have watched it. It had Brainiac in it. I'm so for that.
Yeah, but then also the giant spider thing that ended up being in Wild Wild West. So
yes, and that was all.
Well, no, that was actually the Superman flyby. I think it was. Oh no, it was another Superman film, and it was one
that was Superman, the one that
with Kevin Smith.
The one that Kevin Smith wrote.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh,
that one had the spider, and then the producer was like, "I want a fucking." It's funny. I love that story because he's like, "I want a big fucking spider to come out," and then he said, "Fuck it, scratch this movie," and then fucking a year later he makes Wild Wild West, and there's a big fucking spider in the movie, and it's like
Wild Wild
damn,
West.
We saw how that says he salutes the panel. Thanks, Abu. They had a great stream earlier with Tyler. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Had me rolling. My goodness, Abu just goes at it.
Oh yeah, man. He was laying down.
He just started rapping. It was amazing.
If the MCU gets mentioned, he just goes after it. It's like, okay, that's hilarious.
Ayer cut. Oh, we'll find out more about that in just a second.
I'm waiting for Seal. Is Seal around?
Now, guys, there's elements.
Seal's busy getting scoops right now. That's why
he's working. He's working behind the scenes. That's why he's not here.
I'm surprised not in the chat.
He's trying to get. He wants to get on. He's trying to get on that Justice Con panel. That's what. He wants to be sitting right next to Janita.
He's got 2 picks for us.
Well, greetings from Mexico. I have a question for you all. Would you rather for a possible Keaton movie soundtrack from Junkie XL or Danny Elfman? Dude, I'll go with Matt. Matt first. I have my answer already in the barrel.
It would have to be Danny Elfman, and Danny Elfman would like evolve that, and then of course Tim Burton to direct it. I think would be a perfect mix. Again,
what if you had a combination of both? Elements of Junkie XL and Danny Elfman, like modernize it with the help of Junkie XL, which I think would be pretty dope.
I think it would be pretty cool. Yeah, I'd go with that too. I think that's a good way to look at it too. Yeah.
So what did you think of the Justice League scored by Danny Elfman?
No, that was Joss Whedon did that.
Joss Whedon scored it?
Him and Jeff Johns sat there and they pieced it too. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean it actually had some Avengers themes in it too. It was a horrible soundtrack.
It did. Because they whipped like royalty sounds together in the last minute to get it. You think Danny Elfman is going to spend like a month to whip together. No, he pulled some old shit that he's done and brought it forward, and some shit in a fucking barrel that he's never used, and said, "Here you go.
Thank you for the paycheck."
Yeah, done."
What was he in?
Yeah, you could tell. You could tell that by the variations of the Batman 1989 score that they used in the movie. Like, you could tell that he just kind of. I wouldn't be surprised if the only thing he actually worked on was how he kind of twisted the Christopher Reeve Superman theme a little bit for the fight in Heroes Park. You remember that when he kind of twisted it a little bit? It was the worst.
I was so underwhelmed.
We need that Nicotina clip. Kal-El, no.
Yeah. God.
Ba, 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 ba.
Like, it was too much.
Horrible.
It didn't fit the aesthetic of the film. It just didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, none of that did. None of that fit with what Zack Snyder already established. It all seemed like it was very much just copy and pasted. After, a great score like BVS, it's very underwhelming. And in more of a better word to describe it was disappointing and just terrible.
Right. Because I mean, a good score can really change the way that somebody views or takes in the the visual media. Like case in point, when they scored Back to the Future, Alan Silverstreet came in and they were like, "We need something really grand to make this mediocre film seem better." And he came up with the score for Back to the Future, and it made it better. It made it more. It transcended just a B movie, and it still today is something that you can definitely hum.
I'd like to see the Justice League rescored with Benny Hill music. I think that would make it a better film.
Now you said
Mike,
it. Someone's
in
gonna
that multiverse.
Yeah, someone's gonna do it.
Oh man! Speaking of multiverse, I mean, seriously, I don't know how many times we can try to explain it, but apparently the message is still not getting across exactly what the heck that means, even though it's in the comics forever. And it's like, what more can we put out there so that people out there can understand without like hammering it over the top of their head with an actual hammer and say multiverse, multiverse, multiverse? I'm at a loss.
Well, I mean, I think it's a new way of looking at it, because I know, okay, so you got to look at it this way. If DC were to get ahead of the game between Marvel is pretty much scrambling to find a way to introduce their characters, and I think they're going to do it culturally. They're going to run a very cultural PR plan to get their characters introduced, but at the same time, they shot it in Endgame that there's a timeline, so it kind of like they already have their like multiverse kind of work, but it doesn't make sense. Like the relativity of time in that film has no bearing because the timeline doesn't make sense. But if we look at like what DC is doing, and I always use this algorithm or this like visual representation, Marvel did a circle and they went inward into a dot. DC did a dot and went outwards into the universe, so they could do whatever they want. And I think if we were to look at the multiverse, is like, I use a tree as a representation. Like, this tree represents this universe. Boom, this is my storyline. And then in the same park or in the same sandbox, I have another tree. And over on this tree, I can do independent little baby flowers. That's like, this is Joker. This is Robert Pattinson, Batman. And over here, this is the Burtonverse. Look, it's already been established in 1989. Oh, and by the way, there's Christopher Reeve. He's over there. He's chilling over there in the 70s. And then, oh, by the way, there's some shit going on over here. Oh, and don't forget, we have a TV universe. Oh, and look, this is Snyder's universe. And the person that's really like giving people this visual representation is the Flash. So if you know anything, not just at the Flashpoint, I know a lot of people keep asking me about, is it the Flashpoint? And I'm telling people like, do you really think that these very smart, creative people would adapt 100% of Jeff Johns' Flashpoint?
Right. When they haven't done 100% of a comic book up to date yet.
But
they take bits and pieces and they adapt it, or they meld it with another narrative to give you something new, twist, so that you're not going into the theater saying, I know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
Right.
And it goes back to that idea now. If this universe started with Man of Steel and we're going in this direction, we finally meet the Flash in Justice League. I'm sorry, we meet him in Batman, Superman, but we finally get to introduce to him in Justice League. Do you really think that we're going to get the Flashpoint movie just out of that narrative? No, it doesn't make sense. But can we take elements of what that narrative stood for and those themes, and I can pull out those aesthetics and I can adapt them into our storyline and create something new? I mean, we already see the Flashpoint. The Flashpoint is already being presented in Batman Superman. We see the nightmare sequences. That all is in representation to a different timeline. You know, that's like what's that called? When you have a premonition, you think you've done it before, but possibly you did it in another life. That
Deja
theory, that theory of deja vu,
the Matrix.
That's exactly what it is. The red pill, and you know, that goes back to what Zach said on one of the posters. You know, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, I'll show you how far it goes. And like I'm saying, once you open Pandora's box, not only are you going to get Zack Snyder's Justice League, you're going to get David Ayer's cut. You're going to get this look. You're going to get this character. And when you open that shit, it's all flooded now because now you can't go back from it. That's the point of the Pandora's box.
Exactly.
Once you open it, you can't return everything back to the box.
They were playing it safe. DC was playing it safe after they got rid of Zack Snyder. And now that they're bringing him back, it's like they've taken the training wheels off the bike.
I wouldn't say safe. I would say stupid. Like very dumb.
Well, yeah, no, I get what Zod's saying.
What I mean by safe is
I know what you mean.
So dull and watered down that they didn't want to take any risks because they thought they were being able to appeal to the MCU crowd. Yeah. They thought they were going to get those Disney fans to come over to the DC side and say, hey,
to come in, pay for it, you know, and because that's sort of what they
you can get your popcorn and soda, and you can sit here and watch our heroes, and we'll be just like Marvel.
What's today? Today is the 25th, and the last I checked, Doom Patrol Season 2 dropped, and it's already like flooding people's screens. Like, if you don't like Doom Patrol, you don't have to watch it. No one's telling you to go to the theater to go watch it, and we don't have to rely on those movie tickets. We rely on the fact that I already pay a subscription. So if you have HBO Max and you don't want to watch Doom Patrol, don't worry. You already paid the ticket price for someone else to watch it because someone else is going to stream it. So it's a win-win scenario when it comes to streaming platforms. And now that's going to build an arc for people that when they go to the theater, they're going to be like, oh shit, I should probably go watch Zack Snyder's Justice League after watching Wonder Woman in theaters or Black Adam or whatever it is. And be like, oh shit, now this is over here. I can watch it anytime I want. Like that accessibility and that like fundamental like viewpoint of being able to have touch with anything you want is so relevant in today's society. In today's society, because we become entitled to it, and now we want to complain that we don't have it, or we're going to complain that like, oh, I want my 1989 Batman. Fuck Ben Affleck. Well, why can't we have both? Yeah. Why is it always going to be one or the other?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
The multiverse makes all of that a possible reality, and that's what the beautiful thing about it is. There you go.
And that's what I said on my
hey, why not?
Okay. No, but
no.
That's what I said in my Michael Keaton video about the whole news about him being Batman. It's like with this, if this turns out to be true, which I think him being in talks at least is true. It shows that AT&T is trying to appeal to all of the different age demographics of their fans because there's a bunch of people who are very nostalgic about Tim Burton and Michael Keaton's Batman. There's people who love, Ben Affleck's Batman, and there's people who are excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman. And so it's appealing to all these different wide variety of fans so that you can have specific target audiences within your target audience. And even then, like that target audience will seep into other ones that'll appreciate it as well. And what I meant by when I said that Warner Brothers or DC's direction before or after Zack Snyder left was stupid was because there's no direction. When you have no direction, you're not going to anything. It's dumb. There's nothing. There's no purpose to it. Right. Like after Justice League was released, I mean, you had like Shazam, which like sure it was a fun little story. It was my favorite, but whatever. Then you had Birds of Prey, which I'm pretty sure we all know most of our opinions of Birds of Prey. But there was no direction. There wasn't going anywhere. There was no build up to something that was big or impactful. At least with the MCU, as much as I don't like some of the movies, they at least were building for something. They at least were building to a certain extent to end.
What happened?
Oh my God! What happened?
He looks cool though.
Now there's something to look forward
there
to.
There he is.
And now there's this big old. All right. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna make my point.
We got still.
Oh wow!
Hey,
Let's
Matt.
started to
You
join
didn't blow
us.
us off.
He said, you know what? There's probably a stream going on right about now.
Whatever y'all talking about, let's start from the top right now. Let's start from the top. Let's go.
No, you missed
All right,
out.
all
We're
right.
gonna not go back to it again.
All right, last minute.
Where the hell have you been? Do you know what time it is?
Right.
Hey,
I'm all ears.
Okay.
That's why Matthew's here.
Ah,
He-
yes.
he filled in for the 4Nerds, but we're back right now. All right.
You're all good. You're all good.
It's like we were 3 nerds waiting on the 4th, which is Sil.
Oh shit!
That's what you are,
right
Sil.
there.
That's what you are, Sil. You're the 4th nerd. That's what you are, dude.
Oh my god!
I earned that today. I got
So much salt and shade.
He's like,
Wow.
man, I'd rather take a nap.
long
He
story.
kept,
All right.
and he was the one that was like really crazy. 7:30.
Right. On every
Today?
stream.
Oh, to my Eastern time. Oh, okay. All right.
Talking about Sil time.
You're in Kentucky, aren't you? Eastern time.
Hey,
He's
let's
on,
continue.
he's on seal time. This is Man of Steel right here.
No, it's about our guests right now. It's not about Seal right now. It's about our
We're
guests
just
right
kidding with
now.
you.
No, it's about you
Jay.
because you were late. Oh man.
I love it.
Anyway, so
Awesome.
we will fill you in. We were just talking about the multiverse. We were talking about
Mhm.
Michael Keaton stuff. We were also talking about there's nothing we're talking about. Matt talked about the box. The
Box.
gosh,
Pandora's
Pandora's
box.
Pandora's
yeah,
box.
thank you.
Pandora's
Pandora's
box.
box.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
right,
you.
yeah. Gotcha.
I'm done embarrassing myself. Go ahead.
Well, you froze a couple times, so that was interesting.
I know my internet's being stupid. Don't understand, but it's okay.
Okay, so I've had a lot of questions tonight concerning a solo Superman villain. I guess we'll go around the panel. We'll do Sil last. Go ahead, Matt. What do you think, or who would you like to see in a solo Henry Cavill Superman movie outside of the Justice League stuff going on? Just
I think it's a good question. There's a couple that come to mind. I know that Brainiac is very possible because he's been seen in Man of Steel and he's been seen again in Batman Superman, and that seed has already been planted, and then Bizarro's seed has already been planted. But I would love to see
Doomsday.
no. I want to see Brainiac. I want to see that story get fleshed out. I want to see society get turned on itself through their own
Bottling the city.
and indigenous ways of needing technology, and
Yeah.
Brainiac flips it back on them.
Awesome. All right. So we'll go Zod. We haven't heard from him in a while. He's been chilling on the couch.
That's right. I'm chilling on the couch, and once
I know you
again,
ain't got no pants on.
no, I got pants on. I'm actually wearing some jeans. I'm good.
Would you
I'm
like to
fully
see
dressed
Nerdy's
today,
pants?
bro.
Boise State, baby.
Whoa.
Boise State PJs.
That's baller right there, baby. His wife's like,
What's-
he's mine, ladies.
Well, she's at work, so she doesn't know.
Oh, she's watching.
once again, I must concur with my psychically linked friend Matt over here, because honestly, the one villain that I want to see more than anything, if we finally do get a solo Henry Cavill movie outside of Man of Steel Justice League, is Brainiac. I am so excited at the prospect of a Brainiac Superman live action film. I think that would be wonderful. It's the only option if you want a really, really big Superman movie outside of Justice League.
Yeah.
Brainiac is the next best place to go.
Okay. Nerdy.
I like the idea of Brainiac, but to be different, I will say Metallo.
We were supposed to get Metallo in BVS. We
were, and the seed was planted. Like kind of what Matt was saying, the seed was planted for Metallo as well. I believe the scientist who found the kryptonite in the Indian Ocean is the guy who ends up becoming Metallo, if I'm not mistaken. If you look in the credits, I think, unless of course I'm wrong, but
I disagree.
I think Metallo. Oh no! Don't do it to me, Ryan. He's not doing it.
I don't.
But,
Did I use that yet?
You didn't send me
that?
the clip. I don't have that one.
What? You have it. I sent it to you 2 weeks ago.
He
What are you
did?
talking about? Yeah.
Do I have it?
Yeah.
I don't think I have it.
You should have it on your computer, man.
I could swear you have it because I remember you using
This
it.
is
in
not
the
four
last
nerds
Stream
without the
Red.
I disagree clip, Ron.
That's funny.
Not
I
the
love
same.
that one.
I don't know why that's
Oh,
so
man.
funny, but it's
But
so
any-
true.
But anyway, Metallo I think could be really, really interesting, and it
Mhm.
could be I don't know, because you can make Metallo kind of somewhat of a manipulative character, kind of like Lex Luthor, but also combine it with a little bit more like brawn and muscle, be able to fight with Superman, of course, the kryptonite heart and everything. So it could be really interesting how they play that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would have said Bizarro too, but like everybody else said it. But I would lean towards a Lex with the suit.
I would
yeah.
love to see the mech
for a
suit.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so eventually I hope they work that in.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Nice something to see in like a nightmare scene or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just possibly.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said
Possible.
before, I
Just
would love
tossing
to
that
see
in.
him reverse engineer one of the Kryptonian battle suits and modify it, and then use that with
Yeah.
LexCorp technology or whatever, and then that's his suit. So I'd love
Real
to see
quick,
something
though,
like that. But
I gotta apologize to my good bud, that one Carlos, for not picking Bizarro, because I know his favorite character is Bizarro, and I know that he really wanted that, but I'm sorry. Just apology.
You don't have to apologize for your opinion, Dawson.
But I felt like I did have to, Todd, so I did.
Oh, okay.
awesome. Now I would
I'm
love to
just nice
see
like
a
that.
cyborg Superman, just with apocalyptic technology and all that, like we saw in the animated universe.
Brandon
Steel.
Ralph as cyborg.
Yeah,
Super-
Brandon Routh could come in as cyborg Superman against
fucking-
Henry Cavill's Superman. That
I
would
fucking
be
hope
something
not.
interesting to see on the screen. So
I so
again,
hope
and never
not.
No,
before.
just enjoy it, Matt. No, just enjoy that.
That would be
how many lines is
funny.
gonna be? How many lines is he gonna have? Like 3 in the whole movie?
Who's that?
That's all you
Brandon
need,
Routh's
Brandon.
cyber
Oh,
super-
Brandon's a pretty good actor, man. He's
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
too short of Henry Cavill in the theatrical cut.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, yeah. It's like 2 lines in a whole movie. Like, good choice there, Bryan Singer. Way to cut his lines out.
What's this here? Let's see.
all right. Parasite. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Ooh.
Let's
Parasite's
see.
pretty good.
So I guess we'll turn it over to Sil. Sil,
What-
what did you bring for us? You did a lot of R&D when you were gone. So now that you're here,
A lot of scooping.
what did you bring for the 4Nerds? How are you going to enlighten us with?
Yes. How do you justify your lateness?
I mean, I guess I'll bring some swag to this panel. I don't know.
I'm going to need you to
saying?
deconfirm some stuff.
Let's see. What did we get hit with yet? Let me see. I missed a lot of questions here.
You sure did. It's going to take you about half an hour to come back.
Let me scroll through this here.
We already debunked a lot of the false Michael Keaton rumors, at least to a certain extent.
Oh,
So
the
we
false
did that.
Keaton rumors? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know we're chasing down that Batman Beyond rumor
Right.
that was put out there yesterday.
Mhm.
Just really it only came from one source, so we're waiting for more sources to kind of confirm that. Right now,
Right.
it's kind of up in the air right now. So
Yeah.
And
we'll see.
another thing that's been mentioned in the chat a couple of times was the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. So we have 2 guys right here. I want to hear you guys'
That's
thoughts
the
on any potential updates in that or anything that you can share. Bless
What's
us.
the question? What's the question?
So we have heard from different sources, including the Culture Nerd, that the Ayer cut's being worked on, and that using the CGI components of Steppenwolf and everything.
Yeah.
Do we know anything more than we did from that article?
Yeah.
no.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That was a great answer.
That was a great answer.
I mean,
no, yes.
you
I was
made
like,
that
at my
clip.
speed,
Save
I
that
was
clip.
like, "Whoa, really?"
I was 2 seconds late. I tried to catch him
Yeah.
before he said something. No,
Yeah.
Save that clip right now.
No, yeah, I'll be straight honest. Yeah. But are we going to talk about it right now? Probably not.
Fair.
Just
fair.
because there's so much. But I can tell you that, yeah, a lot of people are I mean, come on. You could just go over to David. Like I said, look at the information, go find it, go on over to David Ayer's Twitter, and he posts a lot. He tweets a lot. He likes a lot of different things. He just liked the Deathstroke and Joe Manganiello post regarding him doing the scene that we never saw that's going to be in the film. I mean, that's going to be quite interesting to see for sure. I want to see more Deathstroke and Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that's going to be great to see the full scene, not just something that Joss Whedon put together on a yacht. We're actually going to see the full, entire thing. So, I mean,
well,
Matt, why can't we have a league of our own?
Well, we're not going to talk about that dialogue, but so Matt, in March, we was told that the Ayer cut needed 9 months of work. Yeah. So at this day in June,
that's what is that? 4 months?
What's a little bit more that we didn't know in March?
A lot more, actually.
So let's talk about a little bit that we know from
like
ask the right question, you'll get the right answer.
I'm trying to find it.
That detective is the right question. Program terminated.
But we do know since March that more VFX has been done since March, and right now it's really just a matter of how far they are along, with the Ayer cut. So hopefully we get that.
And you got to look at it this way too. These visual effect companies are doing multiple projects at once. They're not just working on one film. I mean, you go to work one day on the table slate because when you're a visual effects artist, the company is getting paid for the hours and time that's worked to work on this particular project. They don't just go to work and say, I'm going to go finish what I started. They have to, they get a budget slate. They get a budget on pretty much, this is what you're going to be working on today. This is what we're going to be focusing on. And you have a team that works on that. And then once they're done with that, they move on to the next project because these guys are working 9 to 5 jobs. So this is their full-time job. So they're there all the time. So when they're working, 1 minute they might be working on Black Suit Superman, and then the next day they're working on Steppenwolf, and the next day they're working on a Parademon, and the next day they're working on this, and then they're sending this stuff to the directors and the producers, or the directors really, to oversee it and to put it in their scene, to see how it looks, to review it, to see if they need to change things to the narratives. Because the visual effects artists don't know what the narrative is. They only know the pieces and elements of what they're working on, and different departments are working on different elements. Some person might be working on color correcting and shading, and another one might be working on key mapping and framing, and they're working on key components of those elements and how they're all going to. I mean, I know one guy, in particular, that's a visual effects artist. He solely does shading. That's all he does, light shading. So he'll do digital shading on the side of a face, or add something, or they're mapping the scene to fit. Like if you change one element in the timeline to make it to where it hits at this moment instead of this moment, you have to change every movement, the hand, the body, the structure, the way everything looks, and it that takes time. So I think at this pace, like they're on a great track record, or not a great track record. They're on a great pace to finish everything in time. And we did hear some stuff that we'll talk about tomorrow, which will be a lot of surprise for a lot of people, but yeah, some good stuff actually. But yeah.
So we have a question here. Sil, I know you kind of chomp at the bit to answer this one, but the Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League was shot in 2016. Zack cast all the characters in his DC films. Why wouldn't he cast George Lopez?
Shut up. Really?
Well, George Lopez, Go ahead, Matt.
GL, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's a joke. I was like, are we? Because I mean, we're shooting out other names for other people.
Some of Ryan's jokes kind of fly past people's heads, like, meow.
Lopez. I mean, that's been my thing I said about Green Lantern this whole time. Is that Zack Snyder, already shot the principal footage of his Green Lantern, or plural Green Lanterns, already. So it's just a matter of when he reveals that. Any other rumor of an additional Green Lantern? I mean, that's asking for additional photography in the middle of a quarantine.
Well, you're not asking for additional photography. You're asking for an additional scene. To do an additional scene, you have to place a narrative in a structure in the script to add that in. That now you're taking more work in production to set that up and plan it, rather than additional photography is more in the sense of the line of, hey, I got some stuff that's already outlined in the script that we never shot. Let's go shoot it because we never got around to doing it. Like Martian Manhunter, we have the storyboard. We never shot it. There's stuff in the script that never got shot because there was never time to shoot it. That's additional photography being added to scenes that are already completed. So to put another character in a film, now you have to set new contracts. You have to set new timelines. Now you have to set new photography sets for that. And you have to build sets for that. You got to get stuff out of like storage. That's all costs money because you're paying the guy to go get it. You're paying the people to set it up. You're paying all these people to go get it ready. And you have to readjust. Not only you have to readjust the sets, you have to readjust people's schedules. And you have to do new call sheets. You got to hire production managers to get out there and make sure things are accordance to how it should be. Like that's all like, that's a time frame in a sense that you're doing more instead of doing additional photography. And I think the term on the slate, and we'll talk about the slate tomorrow if we can, is it's interesting because it says additional photography, and the scenes that that he's putting on there, or the shots he's putting on there with Martian Manhunter, Batman, Superman, and something cool with Lois Lane, or or was the biggest keyword as well, or Martian Manhunter. We know that it would be great for him to add Martian Manhunter. We know he's doing it. He's hinted to it multiple times. We saw it in the teaser. We saw it in the little excerpt he did just in front of fans to tell them about was it Justice Con, or he was doing something with
Justice Con?
Was it Justice Con? And he was talking about it. No, it wasn't Justice Con. He did it in his house, right? And there was to the side.
Was that thank you video, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was great about that, we know it's coming. So that's one of the additional scenes that's coming. But do we know that the other additional scenes are coming? Or I'm sorry, the other additional shots are coming that are going to fulfill those scenes. So I think Taylor brought up one, which was the wedding scene, which would be nice to kind of see, which is just Superman, Batman, and Lois. You know, and that connects to his arc at the end when we know Batman in a way will eventually die. But, you know, what timeline is he going to die on? We don't know. But I look back at this now and I'm like, if we were to add another fucking character into the movie at this late in the game, like you got to look back at the narrative and say, is this fit this narrative? And he shot everything he wanted to, and he wrapped in October. But he never got a chance to do the additional photography that comes after you start to build the timeline. And then you go back and do reshoots, because you're adding, when people say reshoots, you're doing reshoots as a way to add additional stuff or change little elements to make them fit the narrative, because you saw on the timeline, it just doesn't work. I want to do another take, or I want to move something out. Hey, I don't know. You know, I'm in control. You know, I'm a director. I'm in control. So it's like,
did he just do like Mario?
Yeah. But those things, those little elements are, I think people take and they stretch it, and they're like, oh, they're going to go back and reshoot all this shit, or they're going to add new characters. Oh, by the way, they're going to throw Michael Keaton in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And while you're at it, go get fucking Michelle Pfeiffer. She's been playing with the whip for the last year. Let's get her in this film. Oh, fuck it. You know what? Go get me the whole cast of Watchmen. I got a perfect scene for them to put in. Like,
slow you down, man.
That's not logical. Like, to me, that's not logical.
Man, if you do that, if you mention Watchmen and you post something, it'll be on We've Got You Covered tomorrow.
It fucking probably is right now. It's on right now, actually. But my point being is that very logical? Like, if you were to sit there as somebody that, you know, can see that actually happening, it's not that logical, because the film's coming out in May that we know of. May 20th, I think, is the date that's being shoot around, but it's early to mid 2000 or 2021, mid to early 2021, right? You still have to understand that Zach is still finishing little things on the bay, finishing visual effects shots, adding elements that he wanted to add, or changing, you know, of course, OG Steppenwolf, getting that primed, ready to go. And we're going to go and add a fucking scene of another character? Like, that doesn't, I don't logically see that playing out.
I'll say
because
it
you
for
won't have the time frame for it.
I'll say it for you with the Ryan Reynolds thing. Okay. It smells like like smokescreen to me more than anything I've seen. I don't know why I have a single panel, but so it smells like smoke
Made him
screen
nervous.
to me.
He's
That's
bringing
what I
it
do on
heat.
my show. That's why.
All right, it's like what? And really, right now, with what we're opening up filming now, that's going to be a huge red flag if we see a Ryan Reynolds story coming on WB's studio set in the next month or two. It's kind of obvious we would hear about that, but I think right now Zach has shot his movie. I think he made it clear that the additional scenes that he wants to shoot probably involve a Martian Manhunter type scene, or that slate that he put out there. Look out for Mighty Pegasus. Like watch Victor's itinerary, Mikey Pegasus, because he's gonna tip off exactly what's going on. Like once you don't see him on Twitter, you'll know what's going on. If y'all know,
I don't
know.
think he will. I don't think he will. I think Victor's a really quiet guy. He's not really gonna jump
He's
out
not
of
gonna
here.
spill the
You know,
beans.
Just watch it.
But say I want to jump off this real quick and do talk about that. It's quite interesting that we're talking about something, and I say this very straightforward when I talk about scoopers or I talk about bloggers and I talk about all these people that say that they know these things that are happening. I'm going to make this clear. Like, I'm not a scooper, and I make that very clear. Do I have friends? I know. Do I have friends that tell me things and I keep it between us? Yeah. Is there times where they tell me shit and I go and I tell somebody else? Yeah, I'm human, right? I like to share my knowledge with other people. Again, when I do my show, I don't ask people to send me money. I don't do any of those things. And I'm not saying that people that do that is a bad thing. I just don't do it personally, because being an educator, like, knowledge to me is free. Like, you should just get it. I mean, as humans, we should just pass it to each other for the cause of doing it. It's a humanitarian thing. But when I look at it this way, and I see one in particular, a lot of people always bring to my attention, I get it a lot, is what is my problem with Garza? I think it's John Aaron Garza, right? With Real Anarchy. My sole issue with that is I don't have an issue, but my viewpoint on it is very clear. I think I made a comment in the past about him being a used car salesman. Honestly, I didn't even know he was a used car salesman until someone messaged me after the show. Yeah, and they told me he was a used car salesman.
Is.
I did not know that. To me, I didn't know that. So my reference to that is when I called him a used car salesman, I look at it this way. It's like going to a car lot, right? If you go buy a car and you didn't do the research on it and you don't know what you're buying, you're going to get ripped off. It's clear as day you're going to get ripped off, because their job has one job in particular, is to give you what they think you want, sell you on the most expensive shit they can get away from, pull up your credit, and pretty much tell you what you can and can't afford. If you're going to go buy a car, you literally know what you can afford. Like, I bought my cars knowing exactly what I'm going to buy. I walk into the lot. I don't even talk to the car salesman. I walked right past him, go straight to where I'm going. Boom, this is what I want. This is how I'm going to do it. That's what I'm paying with. Done. Sign the papers. I'm out driving with the car in like less than 10 minutes. Right. Like, that's how fast I do it when I go buy a car, because I'm not going to sit there and talk to them because they're going to try to sell me shit I don't need. So when I make the reference of a used car salesman, the reference is pretty much that. Knowing that he's a used car salesman, then shit, you know what? Fuck, I don't know what to say. That's not my problem. But I look back at it now and I'm like, I don't take back my reference, because that's exactly what it is. You're a matchstick man. You're literally trying to sell me something that you don't have proof to tell me that I need it. You're just trying to give it to me because that's what sales do. I worked in sales. That's what you do. You try to sell people shit and you think they're going to eat it up. But if you do your research, you can find out that half of the stuff you're trying to sell me isn't true. So when I look at scoopers, I know that Grace Randolph doesn't have scoopers the way she does. She just repeats and regurgitates information back at people, and she spins it in about 13 minutes, which you can't digest information in 13 minutes. There's no possible way. You can't even teach a kid how to do fucking 2 + 2 in 13 minutes. You're going to tell me that you can give all this information in 13 minutes and everyone's going to accept it as gospel? It doesn't make sense. Like, if that was the case, then everybody on this planet would be smarter than what they are, but they're not. I'm not as smart as what I am, and I'm pretty sure nobody else in the planet that thinks they are, they're not, because then they would stop learning. So that's my point, is if we look at this, right, I was talking to Taylor about this today, that some people get on Twitter, make burner accounts, and send information to people, to all these bloggers get it. And then all of a sudden they all get the same news. Like, hey, fucking Nicolas Cage is going to be Superman again. Oh, I heard it. I was a source. I said that. And I'm a source, right? And I'm going to make, they make burner accounts and they give information so other people get it. And then they go back and then they're like, this is gospel truth. Oh, she said it. I got the same information, so I'm going to say it now. And then he got that information. And now look, you've created a circle around a bonfire that's only set for that bonfire, right? Do you think that they do this in the real world when it comes to journalism? No, they don't. They go, where'd you get the information? How can I vet this? How can I source this? Because that person going to get on and actually tell me to my face? No, then I don't want to hear it, because they're not going to run it. They're not going to talk about it. Right. They're not going to share it. So when I get stuff, I do give it to the cultured nerd, because on that element, when I give it to them, Taylor's going to ask me 150 questions of where I got it. And I'm going to tell him where I got it. And then Taylor's going to go, okay. But I said, you can't tell other people, because then I'm going to look like an asshole because I gave it to you. Or Taylor at the same time will say shit to me. And I'll be like, bro, I don't fucking know, bro. I'm not a scooper. I'm just like talking to people, like I'm fucking playing Final Fantasy 7. Do I know who's going to be Green Lantern in the film? No. But fucking, would it be cool if it was Sam Benjamin? Fuck yeah. Would it be cool if it was, Dan, what's his name from 2016? I think that would be brilliant. But is it going to be Ryan Reynolds? That's a stretch. That one I'm going to be like, you better go get me some proof. Like, I better see some proof regarding that. You know what I mean? And I look at that with the very soft grain. Am I saying that they're wrong? No, because I don't have proof to tell you wrong. But can I logically think about this and put it together and piece the dots together? Yeah. So I have more evidence just analyzing the information than you do from a Twitter user that you got it from. And to me, I'm thinking to myself, fuck, is this how the game works for them? Because it must be very challenging. And I know it fits a lot of that parasocial relationship where they have this disconnectedness with when it comes to getting wrong. Because when they're wrong, they don't want to prove that they're wrong. They don't want to accept it. They want to flip it and do a fucking wishy-washy fucking backwards fallacy back at you and shoot a bunch of jibber jabbish, or what I call gish gallop, which is a real term. Go look it up. And they shoot it back at you and say why they're not wrong. And I'm like, well, that's what a used car salesman does. When you buy a car and you take it home and you realize it's not everything they promised, and then you take it back to the lot and say, hey, I don't have a fucking piston in my engine. Oh, you only get a couple of them. You don't need all of them. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't have a fucking seatbelt for my passenger. Oh, see, you didn't ask those questions when you were here. I told you that, not everything is going to be accustomed to the car. There's always something else. And to me, that was my reference. I was never like
you hit it over the head. You hit it right over the head. Man.
I'm not trying to insult. That's my thing. I'm not trying to insult someone for their profession.
Right.
That's not what I'm doing.
But you made.
But what I'm saying, that's the reference.
Sense. That was a great reference.
No, that's the thing, though. I mean, it's kind of a literal the used car salesman. But the thing is, and with the culture nerd, because Matt can speak for himself. Okay, but as far as the culture nerd, we're not going to name people as far as what sources they have or don't have, if they're true or not. We're not in that profession. My editors and editor-in-chief kind of reminded me of that, not to go after people. He mentioned some names, and hey, that's Matt speaking for himself. But our main thing is that we're going to talk about what we found out, what our sources say or don't say. And if it's not coming out to be true, we're just going to expose that. I mean, it's no diss against the person individually. Yeah. We don't hate Grace Randolph all of a sudden, or Garza or whoever it is. I think they do great work from what I hear. I don't follow them personally, but that is what it is. Well, but if it's not adding up, it's not adding up.
Well, I look at it this way. Like, we all have a job, right? We all work somewhere, correct? I'm pretty sure this isn't your day job.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So if I work in a field that if I came to work and I was telling all my students that, for instance, we're talking about Shakespeare, right? And I bring up Romeo and Juliet, and I say Romeo and Juliet is a story told to divide people, and this is how hatred and fear-mongering work. This is why this story is told, to scare people. I would be wrong because my analysis of that information is completely inaccurate to the way that it was written. So I learned how that book was written, or that play was written, how it was worked together, how iambic pentameter works in a form of a play. Like, I know how that works because I studied it. I sat there and I broke it down. I spent hours and hours analyzing those things and getting it ready to turn it into lesson plans to give to students, and to sit there and talk about Hamlet, or to talk about other stories, or to talk about 13 Reasons Why and how it relates to modern day society and how students and look at mental health. Like, those elements, if I went in and started speaking just random fucking used car salesman knowledge, I'm pretty sure my students would rip me apart. They'd be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Because half the time these students go to YouTube and they pull up information and they cite Wikipedia. When they bring it into my class and I look at Wikipedia as a site, I'm like, go do your research. I want you to go read these articles, these studies done by real people with real knowledge, with real background and real credentials, not fucking Jim who's sitting at home on his couch eating popcorn while typing up Wikipedia.
You mean Zod?
You know, and
So-
I look at it that way.
Yeah, and there's actually someone who brings up a really good question, Barry Allen. I think it's the second to most recent comment, Ryan.
This one
I really like this question because we talked about this last night on your stream, Ryan, I believe. And it's, of course, the interview with Henry Cavill and
Right.
Patrick Stewart on Variety. And, of course, the interview, Henry Cavill, you could almost say he was playing it coy, but at the same time, it didn't seem like he was. It just seemed like he was just kind of like nonchalant about his response about the Snyder Cut and what's
It
happening.
was sort of like you were looking at Henry, and Henry was sad flick.
Yeah,
because
so-
there was just no emotion behind what he was saying. He was just very like, I could give a shit. I'm just going to tell you, even though he was in front of Patrick Stewart, who had, you know, some voice issues or whatever. But I mean, he was just like, you know, just kind of giving him an answer, and he's just like, you know, here it is and whatever. And I don't know what's going on with it. It should be out next year. I mean, I mean, you know, if there was this monumental thing like, oh man, it's a culmination and all the fans are behind Zach and everyone is in love with Zach, and I'm gonna go and do some more scenes with Zach, and we're gonna really make this the best product for next year. He's like, oh, well, you know, I think it's coming out on HBO Max or something like that next year. It's very like nonchalant about it. And then there goes Nerdy.
It goes Dawson.
I just blew his mind.
He's back.
Look at him. He's like, son of a bitch.
All right. Yeah.
There he
Sorry.
is.
My internet's being stupid tonight. So I don't know if you addressed it more, but did you see that interview, Matt?
Yeah, I did see the interview. I watched it this morning. I thought it was a very good interview.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like those one-on-one
So,
actor
I guess
interviews.
Yeah. So what are your full thoughts about like how Henry Cavill
He
responded?
promises.
Well, the way he responded, of course, he's being somebody put it right there, very diplomatic. Yeah, he's being completely what an NDA would tell you to do. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
you can't talk too much about it, because if he did, he's already signed to something. So that in a way you can kind of look at that and go, now you can do like investigative educational analysis there, like an educated guess. Is he going back in for reshoots now, or is he going back in for additional photography?
No,
Is
he
gonna
could,
go
he
do
could
it?
be, but just his cadence, his posture, just I didn't see, or I didn't get a sense of like he felt invested, you know, or he felt ownership of like, yes, this is my product too. I'm getting another paycheck as well.
Well, that's how he
because,
is
you
in
know, they're
interviews.
using my
though.
likeness again.
That's true.
That's how he is. If you ever watch his interviews from the beginning, I mean, when he said that he got the job for Man of Steel, he was nonchalant about it. He's like, yeah, I was sitting at home playing World of Warcraft, and I missed Zack Snyder's call. So I picked up, called him back. He said I got the job. I was like,
I remember that interview.
oh, cool. So I put down my controller and I went to the gym and worked out. He was very calm about it.
Yeah.
And that's just Henry Cavill as a person. He's just a very nonchalant, very,
Yeah.
you know,
That was a
low-
strategic.
Yeah.
Was a strategic interview. He made sure he didn't say more that he wanted to say. If you watch it again, you'll see he kind of gathered what he wanted to say, and then he made sure he didn't say too much. So I didn't take too much from it. I know we're all looking for every angle we can get.
Right. I mean,
You
he
know-
was
you know?
he was reserved, you know, and he was trying to pick his words wisely,
Mhm.
you know, and I've seen him do that before. So I mean, I can see
Right.
that too.
The part that cracked
Well, he
me up about
didn't.
the
He didn't
interview
spoil
was,
anything. So
No.
Right. The part that cracked me up the most was when in the middle of his answer, he's like, "Yeah, they're going to release it on HBO Max, I think." And it's like, "You think? You were there for the reveal.
Yeah, he
Saw the
was.
picture.
Playing coy.
I loved his
I thought that was
answer.
funny. I thought it was funny.
I loved his answer when he talked about Superman being, you can't just be Superman on the screen. You have to be Superman off the screen. That told me that he knew exactly who Superman was. It's the embodiment of Superman into the eyes of children that see him, because children can't identify the difference between a movie sometimes and the person. Because when they see him, they're going to go Superman. They're not going to go, right, Henry Cavill, you play video games. They're going to be like Superman. You know what I mean? And I thought that was great.
Yeah,
that's how I look at that's how I look at Ben Affleck. He's Batman for me.
Just to mention, in Human Quake in the chat, they was mentioned as far as that early release of Snyder Cut. That is the latest that we heard was mid to early 2021. So that's a real thing that executives from Warner Media has said. So shout out to Human Quake. We're doing some collaborations. We'll talk about that later.
And still just courting everybody out there, leaving us all behind.
I think I saw a comment in here. It said it's getting negative now or something. I just wanted to say, like, there's times where I'll say something, I'm getting negative vibes now. I think sometimes when I'm very straightforward guy, and I'll give you a straightforward answer and you might not like it, doesn't mean that I'm trying to incite controversy. The problem, the issue that is arising is some people are not good when it comes to confrontation, and they choose to ignore it rather than confront it and deal with it. And I think that if we forget to have conversations with each other, that's why I like watching you guys' channel, because it's fun, it's lighthearted. And if we forget to have these conversations with each other, then all we're doing is agreeing with what everybody's saying. And where are we getting at the end of the day? We're not getting smarter, you know?
Right,
the ability to agree to disagree is so important. The ability to agree to disagree.
Right.
Because when you lose that ability, you lose the ability to communicate different information. Kind of like you were saying, Matt, you lose the ability to, bring up different ideas. That's again, that's why we have that clip that says, I disagree, because it makes light of a disagreement.
Do you have it? I want to see it.
Yes.
Ryan, you do have it. I sent it to you. I know I did. You have it.
I don't believe
I heard somebody was interested. Somebody on that is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have it.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's not about anybody personally. I don't want nobody to take anything personal. I know that a lot that we have said or the Culture Nerd has said has gotten to certain people, and they took it some kind of way. But we're not about veiled disses or anything like that. The fact is, we're going to go through our sources. If it's not adding up, it's not. And I think I told the guy, Matt, I talked to the guy that talked about the Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And I told him straight up. I was like, we're going to vet this. If it's not adding up, I'm not going to call you out, but we're going to debunk it.
Yeah.
If it's not true.
Well, I look at it this way. If anything that's ran on We Got This Covered gets it before you do, I think you should pause a little bit before you run it. Just put that out there.
That is what it is. It's no diss, You still looking for that?
I'm still looking.
You have it. I swear on everything that is holy that you have that.
I just
clip.
checked the email. It wasn't in there.
I disagree. I love the comments. Ability to agree to disagree. Had a cool internet.
Well, you know what, Ryan? Just in case, I am sending it to you right now. You better play it as soon as you have uploaded.
And I will use it.
This will make up for everything Matt has said so far.
Yes.
I don't know why people are saying about the negative. I think what I love is that Matt is just being honest. He's just being direct with us, telling us how he feels. And I think that's a great thing. That's how I wish everybody would be,
Well, yeah. And I bring up the comment again. I think it was from Royal Wakefield. I look at it this way. You're in a social, this is a very disconnected conversation because we're not essentially in the same room. And I always say this is a parasocial connection. So, but however, there's a connection rather than a parasocial relationship where it's all about me and it's not about you, in the sense where if we're not having real connections, and I'm not bagging on anybody, I'm not going after them personally. He's probably a really nice guy. He has a lot of good friends, and whatever he did in his life, got him to where he's at. Kudos to you. Cool. Congratulations. I am 100% supportive of what you do in your decisions in life. However, when you're speaking on a social platform and you're giving information to people, you have to be very coy in a way of how you deliver that information. But when you start to attack people and don't think that they're going to say something back, to me is like naive. Like, I'm a grown man. Like, I'll fucking respond.
Matt, and I got to agree with you again on that, because I feel like that's the biggest problem when people start attacking others and going after those people personally for what they believe about a certain topic or because they disagree about a certain thing. Like here on the 4Nerds, whenever we disagree and we throw that I disagree up as a joke, as a lighthearted way of showing people that it's okay to disagree. And the reality is, to some people, it's not okay to disagree. If you disagree with certain people on certain topics, particularly when it comes to this kind of fandom and this kind of thing, you get ostracized, you get attacked, you get made fun of. It's ridiculous. And I completely, and so when you saying what you're saying really hits me, because I've been there and I know exactly what you're talking about. And in particular with this gentleman, because you try to say that it's not personal, and you try to call people out for things that have to do specifically with certain topics that you're discussing, and then all of a sudden everything is personal. Well, and it gets reverberated back at you like you said something personal about this person.
I love it, but I understand what you're saying.
Don't lose it this time.
This is the 4Nerds show now,
Ryan.
All right.
I understand what you're saying, Zod, is because you get into this idea now where that's where the parasocial comes in. Like I open a channel on my show called Let's Talk, and I invite anybody on the show. I leave the link there. I let people discuss with me, and if they don't agree with what I have to say, get on, tell me what you don't agree with, and I'll talk to you one-on-one, and we could see if we can come to a common neutrality of goals. And I look at it that way, is if we can't have that discussion. I saw a couple comments. I have invited Grace multiple times to come on the show. I reached out to her multiple times. I think I reached out to Seal. There he is on that side. To reach out to Seal to see if he can reach out to her, because I wanted to talk to her. And I've invited the Real Anarchy guys before to get on the show.
No, man.
They don't.
You're doing right, though. You're doing right. You can only, and I've been in that situation too. You can only give them the olive branch so many times before you say to yourself, "Okay, I've tried to reach out to these guys. They don't want to talk, and then they still want to attack,
talk about
and roll over everybody else. Well, and that's not right."
I look at it this way. I had this conversation with somebody earlier, and I'll just like repeat it verbatim of kind of what I said to him, because he asked me the same question. He goes, "Why is it so hard for these people to have this type of conversation?" And I told him it's typically the parasocial ego that I've talked about myself multiple times. You disassociate that connectivity with the audience and the people that are watching your YouTube channel, that when you don't connect with your audience and have that genuine one-on-one talk with them, you tend to build a wall. You're on that side. I'm saying everything. You're listening. When I'm done, I'm off the platform. Now, if classes work that way, nobody would learn anything. If that's how society worked, we wouldn't understand how to do our jobs, because then we would have so many questions that somebody couldn't answer for us. And I look at it this way. When you bring up like comments at the bottom right there, I think how you were doing it, like if you do that right there, just like, that's not for them. That's for you, because you're showing that people are engaging with you, but are you really engaging with them really? I like that face-to-face conversation, and some people don't want to talk. I understand that, but it goes into the sense, I always leave my DMs open. You can always DM me, and I talk to a lot of people. Sometimes I can't get to all of them, but I look at it this way. If I'm 100% transparent, I'm a real person, and if you disagree with me, that's cool. I'll probably disagree with you. We might agree on a lot of things, and I think that's how you build a healthy relationship. But at the same time, if you were to expose the person that's talking to you, they wouldn't want you to expose the fallacies that they're giving you, because if you were to expose that, you're tearing apart that identity, and now you've shrouded their identity completely. And I think the way I put it, that's not a very healthy way of going about dealing with your audience. And I know a lot of actors go through this, where they disassociate themselves from their fans, because if they were to be so associated with them, then it's going to get toxic. But I've seen a lot of actors actually connect with their fans. Like The Rock does it. He does Instagram chats and he does one-on-ones with them. I've seen a lot of actors do it. I've seen Henry Cavill do it. I've seen plenty of actors do it, and they live healthy lives. But again, you have paparazzi's job is to go and invade their personal life. And I don't get mad when an actor hits a paparazzi, because I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of my space. Like, give me some fucking privacy. I'm not at your house.
I'm wearing sunglasses and a hat for a reason. I don't
want to be And so it's interesting in the way that you break all these layers down, because if you expose these people that are on these YouTube channels and you call them out for what they really are, and you're asking them real questions that they have no control of, you're going to make them look dumb. And some of them don't want to look dumb. They want to have control. So it's all about
they also don't want to get hit in their pocketbook, because they rely on that narrative. They rely on the people to buy into that narrative and give them cash apps, give them, you want me to.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you hit it right on the head, Ryan. It's all about a narrative, and keeping that narrative perpetually, no matter what the situation is and no matter what changes. Some people will never break their narrative no matter what, because they're too reliant upon it. So everything Matt is saying is 100%.
I mean, just to push or bring it home with something that's vivid and still fresh in everyone's mind is like someone brought up earlier. Barry Allen brought up Andy and Jody. They are doubling down on their Snyder cult narrative, and they're going to go in. They're going directly into the dumpster because at the end of the day, they're on the wrong side of history. And they're just spinning this BS. I mean, hell, even the damn Keaton news, they were like, oh, here he is, he's replacing Batfleck, and looking for the silver lining, but the silver lining for that particular paradigm.
That silver lining is I use silver lining a lot, but silver lining is actually a negative thing. In some cases, silver lining can be a form of sympathy, where you do it as a way to get people to feel sorry for you. And I think somebody brought up Jody, and I talked to Enosh Fett had a lot to say about that. And Enosh,
yes, I love that episode. Yeah,
he was so in depth in the way that he viewed it, and it made me look at it from his perspective. Is that they do it to build their following off of the negativity of others. And if they can do that and get a sense of sympathy from people, then they can get more monetary value and more engagement. And when they get that, they get clicks, they get views, they get more money. He gets to support his studio. And he made a good point. And it was something I thought was fucking so true that I forgot about it, was he has people in his show that sit in the background and they, yo, yeah, you right, man. You 100% right. And they're hyping him up, and I felt like that was I thought that was so interesting, the way Enosh kind of put that together from his perspective, and the way he expressed Superman and saying Jody can have his Superman, but that's not the way I see Superman. And I just watched the Jody's video. I watch the people that are negative sometimes because I want to see their side, and I watched Jody's
absolutely
I watched his Man of Tomorrow view of what he saw, and he pretty much laid out Man of Steel and BVS and how Superman was viewed. And I'm sitting there like, did he just label it? And I looked on Twitter and people were saying the same thing, and I was like, yeah, I saw the same thing. And then he made a connection that Jody said was very important. Jody said, this is my Superman. I want the Richard Donner Superman. And I go back to Enosh, and Enosh is like, I like the Richard Donner Superman, but I like Henry Cavill Superman because he reminds me of my childhood growing up, of what a man should be and how to deal in a real world.
Right.
And he still likes that Superman. He likes this Superman. Me, I like all the Superman except for Brandon Routh's Superman. You
like Dean Cain's Superman?
I like Dean Cain's Superman. Yeah.
Okay.
He was like an uncle to me as a growing up when I watched Lois and Clark. I like that Superman because he was like an uncle. But it's interesting because each one of us, that's why I like this idea of Michael Keaton, because now my brother, who's a big Michael Keaton fan, can have his Batman in the same universe. I can have my Batman in the same universe. My dad can have his Batman.
Yeah, same with me. My little brother. Yeah, my little brother Burton is a huge Michael Keaton fan. When the news dropped about him being potentially in the works, he's like, dude, you can have your Ben Affleck. I can have a Michael Keaton. It's going to be awesome. We can both be happy. It's like, okay, cool.
That's multiverse.
We can finally play with our figures.
Yeah, but I mean the whole point.
You're not too far off the truth.
I'm not playing with my dolls again.
I think the whole point that we're touching on is, be open to dialogue. Like we said, with 4Nerds, we talk to a lot of people about how we can disagree and face it and kind of talk about it and be okay with it. We've put several invitations to other individuals to have dialogue about it. Be open to dialogue. I think, Matt, you saw on the Twitter, someone was challenging the article that we wrote on Culture Nerd. And I said, hey, go ahead and read the article because you don't have all the facts, right? Go ahead and read the article and then we can have a talk about it. Because I'm not going to hide from what's true. You see what I'm saying? If it's not true, we could talk about it. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not going to call names and call down somebody just because I don't agree or don't like that they have a story that I don't have. So, I mean, just be open to dialogue and, that's about being an adult.
No,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's about that conversation again. When you listen to that other side, it gives you perspective, and perspective is a beautiful thing. Perspective is an amazing thing because if you can get good perspective from other sides, I mean, that just opens up your entire world to different possibilities of thought.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jesse Allen's comment for Seal.
What is that?
Multiverse. That's multiverse.
That's my answer to everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, why did this happen? What? It's multiverse.
Phil Thomas.
Phil Thomas.
That's what y'all got from this conversation. Whoa.
Cash app.
I'm in a good mood. I mean, there's a lot that we want to say tomorrow, and it's funny because I know Seal's part of the whole cultured nerd thing, and so I do sometimes jump on these streams to see if he's talking with stuff he shouldn't be talking with.
Keep him in check.
And he did catch me though, because there was a stream I did where I literally started to just put out everything. I just started throwing all the teasers I could. I think it was on your stream, actually.
On Ryan's.
This one right now.
Oh, Dawson's.
It was Ryan. This is Ryan. This is your channel, right, Ryan?
This is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it on Ryan's channel. I ran it on Ryan's channel. I did all the
that's right.
Yeah, I call you. Yeah.
And I started to retract them. But I feel like sometimes, like, I'm an open book. Like, if you catch me, like, if I'm drinking whiskey, man, just don't put a mic in front of me.
We'll catch him monologuing.
He's the worst, man.
Don't put whiskey in front of me. I think I did it with Taylor. Oh, no, it wasn't Taylor. It was Dawson. We did our show, and afterwards, me and Dawson were talking, and then I was just like, Dawson, this is gonna happen. Da 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 da. And then the teaser dropped for Darkseid. And he's like, you said that, and then you said that like a month ago, and I was like, yeah, I was probably drinking whiskey.
I shouldn't drink whiskey. Yeah, I was waiting on that one.
I should not drink whiskey. Because it leads to bad things.
But that's true. Like you said, Matt, sometimes we be in like conversations with Taylor, like we'll all be kind of messaging, and Taylor be like, okay, Sil, say this, but don't say this. If you go on Dawson's show, and I'm like, okay, let me get this right, So, but the main thing is that we want people to be excited about what's coming, but we don't want to, just totally spoil it for fans, because we're fans too. So, we want to lay it out there for you. So.
And I think that's interesting because we got that one post on Vero that someone asked Zack Snyder, like, we've heard a lot of things about the movie, but we feel like a lot of things are spoiled. And he's like, no. You're just approaching the tip of the iceberg. You have seen nothing yet. And so I love that post because it's like, see, we do know a lot, but like, there's still a lot to explore and understand. So
so many layers, like an onion.
Yes.
And maybe after the end of this show, and we're sitting in the post lobby, and then maybe we can talk about some of this stuff.
Like with Chris Wong.
Shut up.
Next subject. Next topic.
Did you just take a sip of whiskey?
I can get some. I like to make whiskey sours. So if anybody knows how to make a whiskey sour, I like to do those. I like to make those.
Nice.
Okay, so is Jeffrey Dean Morgan coming as Batman? It's kind of a weird way of putting it, but what do you think?
Well, I mean, he did. He had Bruce. So.
Oh, Martha.
Was he Batman at that time?
He hit it as Bruce.
I mean, that's the latest rumor is that we heard he was in discussions, and it's a matter if they're going to lock that down and put him in a cameo.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be sick. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it too spoiled anyway.
No spoilers. Not spoilers on 4Nerds.
I thought we were
Matt's show.
just let it go.
Probably on Lightcast show you get spoiled. Not on 4Nerds. We're not spoiling.
I could give a spoiler. Give me if I see a question that I can spoil, I'll say it.
What's that? The iRobot movies that if you ask the right question, right?
Yeah, that detective is the right question. Love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, I like that one.
Unpopular opinion, but yeah.
Hey, that's a hot take. I know. Let's see. What did it say? You like the article? Yeah, that's true.
I really want multiple Batman in one movie. Yeah.
No, it would be awesome. We potentially could have 3 in this Flash film.
And we could have 4 in 2 years. Like, holy crap, guys. That'd be so freaking sick.
I say it's a good time to be a DC fan. We say that all the time, but like seriously, the opportunity is like there's so much potential.
Right. And, the speculation alone, is just fun enough. It brings people together, even if we're completely wrong about a lot of the things that we come up with, mainly Dawson.
And oh gosh, okay, whatever. But Ryan, after Nicotina's show last night, I know me and you were talking a lot about Ben Affleck's Batman, just kind of talking about the scope of everything DC right now. If something mentioned has Batfleck attached to it, it explodes everywhere. Like Batfleck is such a hot topic right now.
Right. He has enough. He has the same clout that Zach has, and whenever he likes something or tweets something or whatever, it is. Same thing with like when he liked Zack Snyder's, or tweeted last November, Snyder Cut. I mean, people just lost their mind. So, I mean, and I would think that Will Smith would have the same effect on the Ayer cut if he were to jump on the bandwagon. People would be like, "Holy, what the hell?" Jared Leto, okay, but Will Smith, okay, this is real. So,
well, before Matt answers that, I think the Will Smith angle is that. Well, I'll put it like this: with Ben Affleck or anyone else supporting release a Snyder cut, they do have to kind of have some kind of a benefit on the back end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand. I mean, it's great to say, hey, it's all about Zach, which is true. But what am I benefiting? And that's why Henry Cavill was kind of being coy about it, because I don't think he has a solo deal locked down yet.
Right.
But with Will Smith, what is his benefit from saying, hey, let's get David Ayer's vision out there? You see what I'm saying?
And if they're gonna release a different cut of the movie, would they again, same thing, with Zack Snyder's Justice League, would they have to go back through the cast and have them sign off on their image again? That's where he would work. That's where he would benefit. Because it would be just another paycheck, because it's a different cut of this of the same.
Supposedly it's a different movie. Yeah,
right. It is a different movie.
Mm-hmm. I'll say supposedly, but
no, it's a different movie. It is 100% a different movie than what we got in theaters.
Oh, wait.
That's fucking
hey, relax your hand like this.
Don't
get your trigger finger.
Don't get my trigger finger like me. And speaking of that audio clip,
I'm gonna need guns.
Jesse Allen commented that he wants a Sill disagreement shirt. I just want to say we're working on that.
It's coming.
Still I disagree shirt.
It is in the works.
I'm gonna rock it every stream.
And it's gonna have to have our 4Nerds logo on the back of the shirt.
In the words of Zack Snyder, stay tuned.
Okay, for this question here, let's turn it to Matt, and we'll go counterclockwise so that Dawson's last. Okay, so what is one DC story character that is not officially announced that you want to see put in a film or series?
Good question.
I think I was talking about this earlier. Booster Gold.
Yeah, he'd be funny.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Booster Gold. Give me him.
Zod, cool. Wait, on the couch?
I would have to say, let me think about this for a second.
Think hard, Dawson.
Blue Beetle.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my answer, but okay. Beetle. Jaime Reyes. That version, that incarnation.
So you got the same answer? Is that what you're saying?
I went a little deeper and I gave the exact review that I wanted to see.
Well, the recent rumor I heard, I mean, which is nothing confirmed with that, but Dr. Fate, I would love to see a Dr. Fate
that would
story
be wonderful.
or series. I mean, he's
I'd love
the
to see
original
a series.
He's the original,
Multiverse of Madness.
He predated Doctor Strange, so I would love to see him be fleshed out. So
certainly that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and Dawson.
Wow, so unexcited. Thank you, Ryan. Love you too, man.
Brace us with your answer.
But it's between two characters for me. I'd want to see Hush because he was not done right in the animated movie.
Riddler?
Oh man.
No,
You say
not
that
for the
name?
Virgin.
That was
No, I know.
How dare you say that name?
Hush from the actual comic, the actual graphic novel, the good one, or the other one that I want would be John Constantine.
Oh yeah, I'll say right now.
Would
Yeah,
you want the
definitely
character that plays him in the animated as well as the that live action television show?
That'd be
or
dope.
would you
That'd be
want them
dope.
to recast and say bring back Keanu?
Because I mean, we're talking about a multiverse here, so like John Constantine from the animated series as well as the live action shows. I mean, possibilities are endless.
Well,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
After the Apocalypse War, like I'm all in for a Constantine like movie.
Oh yeah, that was
because they did him perfectly in that movie. I see in the chat they got Zatanna. Somebody said they get a Zatanna show.
Plastic Man.
Yeah, Plastic Man. Yeah, so it's a lot of options. It's the multiverse, like Jesse Allen said.
Nathan Fillion.
Multiverse.
Yes, I love Nathan Fillion.
But Nathan Fillion is supposed to be in the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's in the Suicide Squad.
Let's see.
I think he plays Pull Off Arm Boy or something. Or he just plays some random odd character that's probably gonna die.
Someone mentioned Ivy mentioned Swamp Thing, which is gonna be ported over television. They're gonna be ported over to CW, which I think I had this discussion with Matt like 2 months ago about this, but it's gonna be on CW, and then they're gonna probably do a full series on HBO Max again. So.
No, I don't think he's. I want to say a full series, but they ported him over. They canceled the show not because it was failing. I think they canceled the show because they know they're going to redo the character for J.J. Abrams for Justice League Dark.
Yeah,
because he's a primary focus in that story, along with Constantine. Because Constantine in the Hellblazer comics, and when you pull him out of Sandman and the Hellblazer, and then you put him in his own comic, and he starts to get with Justice League Dark, he has a big connection with Swamp Thing. So that connection is like brotherly love, but at the same time, I hate you.
Yeah,
yeah. Which came out great in that Apocalypse War movie. That's why I recommend everybody to watch that.
And if you give me a Zatanna, oh my God, you better just tell everybody to leave the room.
Well, we don't want to make it male gazy. She can't have that outfit, that magician's outfit. I'm sorry, she's gonna have to wear like a.
No, get out of here.
Someone.
Are you kidding? She's gonna have to wear. She's gonna have to wear.
Okay.
That was fitting. That was fitting right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we got some good names in the chat.
Thanagarian,
Hawk Girl.
See, Thanagarian's in the comment.
I'd love to see like a Thanagarian invasion type movie. Just that would be interesting. I think they did that in the animated universe as well. I can't remember where I saw that.
What if I told you Thanagarians is like it's already in the world?
What are you talking about? Are you talking about Hawkman and Hawkgirl?
Thanagarians.
Just the Thanagarians, yeah.
They're already in the world?
Yeah.
Where? In Zack Snyder's universe?
Next question.
Yeah, they're in the lesson.
Next question.
Hold on, wait a minute. Rewind.
Hold Next up. Question.
We'll talk about it later.
Expound on this Thanagarian theory.
No, it's not. It's not theory. It's not theory. It's fact.
I just want to know a little bit more about this Thanagarian theory.
We'll talk.
It's not theory.
I love it.
It's not theory.
No.
It's no theory screenshot. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Ooh, Green Arrow's a good one. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they update Green Arrow, yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be Cyborg. I'd love to see a Cyborg series.
Oh yeah, definitely. You get a beer, Zod? I like that. I'm gonna have Zod on tomorrow. Me and Zod are gonna have a chit chat.
Nice.
Is that tomorrow or is that July?
I don't know.
Because
you could be late, like
you got July on your schedule.
I thought you had Taylor tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow or is that July? Let me look.
You got me down for July.
You got some
Matt's all
there?
sorts of comfortable.
Let me check. What day is
like
it?
there's not enough room on my couch.
You got me down for Monday, July the 6th.
Speaking of Zod being on the couch, Ryan and I were talking.
Oh, yeah.
Zod, you always somehow end up in a position on the StreamYard where if
he
there's like a
saw
person in the background, you're like
He saw the
perfectly
Katrina's
positioned.
picture.
Yeah, on the shoulder. Like you're perfectly positioned every
Zack
time.
Snyder, the
No,
lower
it's
half of Zack
tomorrow.
Snyder with his arms crossed, and then you had Zod or right above it, and it was perfectly matched with Zach's body. I'll have to get
It's
that.
the magical
Can you
cow.
put it on Twitter? Because we're gonna have to share that. Like,
Yes.
that thing was
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter.
Well, and it happens every time. Like there was one time I had a Superman background on one of my streams, and then your head was right over top of Superman, and then there's another one where it was like over top of my logo, and your head was perfectly aligned with my body on the logo. Like every single freaking time. I don't know how you do it, but you do.
Well,
So-
Zod, I got you on for tomorrow at 1.
Okay,
Oh,
because
really?
the schedule I saw was for the 6th, but that's cool.
No, man, I'll show you right now, bro.
We can do both.
I got you. There you go. Throw that screen up on there, Ryan.
I can be there.
Bada bing, bada boom, baby, right there.
I can be there tomorrow. No
Perfect. And
problem.
you even hearted it. Look.
Yeah. Okay. So it's okay. Cool. No. But what I'm saying is I was going off the Twitter schedule
The
that
tweet,
you had
yeah.
posted. I thought
You
maybe.
tweeted out.
Oh no! I do those schedules like in
When you're
advance.
drinking?
People that locked in, and then I go back and I add more to it. So I'm always updating it.
So tomorrow.
you your
So tomorrow
grace.
at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 1 p.m. Yeah, it'll be Pacific for me, so you would be Eastern.
Ooh, I saw a couple comments for Static Shock.
Or if you want to do
Static Shock.
Eastern, we can
Oh,
do
you're
it.
talking about Will Smith's son? He
I
was
don't
supposed
think
to
that's
be
happening.
Static Shock.
I hope not.
I did see the comment about Lobo. I don't know if anyone liked how he was done on the Krypton series.
No, he was like so puny.
You didn't like that?
It reminded me of that other guy from what was that guy? Oh shit. He used to be on MTV a lot. He was like, "Oh, bullshit." I forgot what his name is.
I can't remember.
He was like a host, and he had
Ricky Gervais.
No,
I
not
hope
Ricky.
not. I hope not.
No, this guy was young. He was in
That's what it sounded like. You were talking about like that matched him
movie,
perfectly.
God, with Jason. Shit. Getting over somebody. I forget.
But that second series of second season of Krypton, it didn't go over as well as the first season. So yeah,
No, it didn't. I lost interest very early in that.
yeah. First season was great. Like it's on DCU app.
I was like,
I
oh,
watched it.
Doomsday. And I was like, oh, who gives a shit?
Yeah, they teased it out so much. They showed Doomsday like in the second or third episode of the first season, and then
I
they
saw a
teased
clip
it out.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it looked pretty dope in the clip that I saw, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen the show.
they just didn't
unfortunately.
execute it. Yeah, they didn't pay it off.
Design looked dope though.
Oh yeah,
But-
yeah.
Oh yeah, Lobo.
Very-
Oh, they're talking about Jason Momoa being Lobo. Yeah, that would have been a good one.
Well, it's funny because when we talk about how Zack Snyder
really
casts people, though, like it's funny because when you look at how Zack casts people, not just in the universe of DC, but look at all his movies, the way he's casted people, he always selects actors that nobody else is picking,
Right.
and he finds importance in those characters, like Gerard Butler to play Leonidas. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody knew who he was. He wasn't on anybody's radar. He wasn't even a household name. And now everybody knows Gerard Butler.
Phenomenal.
And then we had Michael Fassbender in that movie too. And a lot of people forget that. Michael Fassbender was in 300. And now look, he's a household name. And so we go and we look at all his other films like Watchmen, one of the biggest comic book movies to come out, one of the biggest comic books ever written.
Ever.
And he goes and casts a lot of no-name actors. You know, he brings in maybe a couple known actors, but he casts a lot of no-name actors to play the characters.
Yeah.
And you look at Man of Steel. Everybody had lists of who they would have picked. Nobody in their right mind would have picked Henry Cavill. Even Henry Cavill wasn't selected to play Superman in Superman Returns. They picked Brandon Routh.
Right.
So you go back and look at his casting selection, and you tell me like, he selects based on the preference of the character rather than the preference of what the audience is going to like. He picked Ben Affleck because Ben Affleck was the perfect choice to play Ben Affleck's Batman. And he was a big known actor, don't get me wrong, but you look at all the other actors in that film, the ones that have more screen time have less, bigger roles. And this opens up those doors for them to show that they have a wide expanse when it comes to acting on screen. So when I look at whatever comes next, especially in the Flash movie, I don't expect to see a lot of known actors in that film. I expect to see new presentations of these characters being displayed for us and playing out on screen. And I know a lot of people, they jump to the gun when they say like, oh, you need a big known actor to play in this film. No, you don't. Not anymore. They just casted a fucking AI person for a Korean film, I think, or a Japanese film. They just casted an AI computer model. You think they care who they're casting for their films? No, they cast pending on the narrative and what's best for the script. And I like that. And Zod, you keep going in and out, man. You're
so
He's
Matt,
adjusting himself on the couch.
So Matt, I know I was like 40 minutes late with my 4Nerds brothers, but did we touch on Ben Affleck at all today?
No, we did not.
Maybe, I don't know.
A teeny bit.
We talked about, we'd like to see him as well in the Flash movie, being the third Batman in the Flash movie. But that's
we also talk about our wish list of what we want to see from Batfleck before his career.
We'll leave it at that.
No,
okay.
Man,
and you want to expound on that?
No,
why would you bring it up if you don't want to expound on it at all?
Yeah.
But
Matt, you bring up a good point about unknown actors. I think now more than ever, it's more important to have, at least in my opinion, unknown actors are the way to go. Aside from Ben Affleck, because Ben,
especially if you want them to care about the story more than care about the person in the situation.
You want to see them as the character, not the actor that they're known to be. And so, like with Gal Gadot, I didn't know about Gal Gadot until Wonder Woman. Now I see her as Wonder Woman. With Henry Cavill, I didn't know him until Man of Steel. Now I see him as Superman. It's the good way to go with these superhero films.
Same thing with Hugh Jackman. He Wolverine made him, and that's why he kept coming back, because he felt like he owed something to the fans, and he kept coming back and doing his movies.
I mean, look at Russell Crowe, one of the biggest actors in Hollywood that has such a large, expansive knowledge on the screen and theater, gets casted as Jor-El. We see a massive opening of his character that we've never seen before for Jor-El. We see him engaging in battle. We see the drama. We see the action. We see the heart. We see the death. We see the sacrifice.
Right.
And then the rest of the movie, we don't see him. He comes back and forth. You know what I mean? And so when we go to Batman, Superman, Lex Luthor's played by
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg, which is really the guy that does comedy films and does a lot of off the wall characters. And the last film he did before that was like a film where he played a double.
Zombieland?
Not Zombieland. He played another one before that.
It was called Double. It was called Double something.
He played himself.
It was a movie where he played himself. He was fighting against himself. Double. I forget what it's called.
Double Trouble.
Yeah.
Double Jeopardy.
No, Ryan.
And we go to this knick-knack.
Is it a helicopter?
And
oh my God! Don't say helicopter.
Come on, Joseph. Come on.
Helicopter.
Sorry, Matt.
Oh, sorry. It's a 4Nerds inside joke.
I'm out of it.
Sorry.
Like an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing.
No,
we saw that. Have you seen the Lord of the Rings deep fake where he's every character?
Oh yeah, I just watched that yesterday. Yeah,
hilarious.
I was scared actually. It was weird. It was scary. Like it was really.
I love
scary.
the one. I love the deep fake.
Go into Mordor.
I love the deep fake where he's every character in The Office, and he's Angela's like, I don't have a headache. I'm just preparing. Love that one.
Well, what was I on? Oh, Lois. So Amy Adams is Lois. No one would have ever picked her to be Lois Lane.
Right.
No one. She doesn't even look like Lois Lane in the comics. She has blonde brunette hair rather than pure brunette hair, and people, bash on it. But when you see her, yeah, she's a badass.
She fits the character.
Yeah. Very aggressive, very Lois Lane style. We see, Perry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing opportunity to put a great actor in a great position as a background supporting character that builds on Henry's character. And we look at that and we look at Zach and we look at the way he selects people. And I go back to the question, who do you think he's going to select for newer films? And it's like, come on. He picked his Martian Manhunter. How do you think he's going to select his Green Lantern? You know what I mean?
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. But I can do that. Go back to the other one. I can do the other one. Yeah.
He's rumored to play everybody. No, let's give him a break. Give him a break.
Oh, I can.
I mean, heck, he played the gunslinger for goodness sakes, and the gunslinger he did not fit that role at all. I mean, goodness gracious.
Give Idris a break, man.
I can do that one. He would be the perfect. Which Green Lantern was it in the series?
Kilowatt.
No, not Kilowatt. There's a Green Lantern that actually looks like that. I forgot what his name was.
Oh, yes. The one where it's just the head.
Yeah.
And you got the arms and the feet, but I forget his name. Yeah.
He kind of looks like MODOK.
Oh, yeah. He was in that the Emerald Knights movie. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He would be perfect. Jack Black would be perfect.
That'd be great for
actually would be.
Oh, if I got him, I'm done.
That's what they needed to do. They need to have the Green Lanterns versus the Red Lanterns, just like they did in the animated show.
I want to see a White Lantern
and sort of introduce us to the galaxy, and just kind of like how they did in the Guardians of the Galaxy, but just kind of go off world and leave the realm of Earth alone for a bit. Show us something else.
Well, that's the potential of the Green Lantern Corps show on HBO Max. That's the potential. They could really do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at Nico Baca's comment. They say, I'll bet my sack lunch and gummy bears still spoil something within a week.
Hey, I think I sort of probably already did on Twitter if y'all follow me. So,
well, I can say my Harry. I'll spoil something. I don't talk about it often, but I'll throw it up here on the screen. I'll give it to you right now, Ryan.
Man.
So I have this, right? I run this a lot. A lot of people ask me about my list, and a lot of people have figured it out actually. So I'll do the next one, and I'm probably gonna. I didn't put this one. This is somebody else. So of course, this one's pretty obvious, right?
We ran that story. Yeah.
This one is actually resemblance to something. So is that one, and this one kind of,
You're kind of out of sequence, right?
Yeah. What happened?
You're out of sequence, right?
What do you mean?
Those pictures.
This one?
No, I'm just saying, like, just the way that you're showing it is out of sequence, right?
Yeah, they're just my list, right? This one, I think it's pretty obvious. I think we've talked about this one. We kind of know what this one resembles.
Yeah,
kind of already coming into play.
Mm-hmm. Those are your. Yeah.
This one, of course, was the Dark Side teaser. This was pretty obvious, right? This was Henry.
Go ahead and like your own stuff.
Yeah, well, I do. If you ever see me like it, that means it's off the table. So I'll go to this one, and I mean, if anybody piece that one together, I mean, there's your spoiler right there.
Well, there we go.
I think that confirms some things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Correcto.
So I posted this June 18th. This not only confirms this character, but this confirms what's coming next. I guess next would be the next word, and we'll talk more about it tomorrow. I thought about doing just a stream on these because a lot of people have a lot of questions. So this one and this one are connected. So there you go.
There we go.
He said a lot by not saying a lot right there. So
yep.
Take notes. That's how you do it.
People in the chat will either be like, "Oh my gosh," or be super pissed because they don't know what's going on.
I'm not good at that. I just feel it.
Oh man.
Let's see. We're not talking about other bloggers right now. So
no, I already talked about that.
Next question.
Still just like, get that out of here.
I'm not gonna do that. We can talk about it on Lightcast show.
Oh, shit. Go back to that comment. Go back to that comment. The Green Lantern comment. Zod, I want your opinion on this because we're not on the show till me tomorrow, and I want to know your thoughts. If you had to pick a Watchmen actor from Watchmen to play Green Lantern, who would you pick?
To play a Green Lantern or a specific Green Lantern?
To play Zack Snyder's Green Lantern, who would you pick?
From Watchmen?
From Watchmen. Because we know that Zach has already casted a lot of people in the DC universe from the Watchmen series to play other characters.
Yeah, for Green Lantern though, it would be interesting to see the actress who played Lori, who played Silk Spectre, to play
Malin Ackerman,
to play one of the Green Lanterns.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Malin Ackerman. Yeah,
she would be an interesting lantern. They and for the
Hold on,
I don't know right now her name escapes me what the name of the actual character is, but it's a female Green Lantern, and I think she could do it. She could pull it off.
If anybody can play Sinestro, and if Zach had to cast as Sinestro, I would say Matthew Good would be the best option.
Oh yes,
yeah.
For Sinestro, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be up to Zach though, but yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I think
well, because we get the multiverse, it's what's his name, Dr. Savannah,
Mark Strong.
Yeah. That's not. He's not going to come back.
He's not.
He's going to have a scene
they
with
already
himself.
ruined it. They already ruined that.
I think Billy Crudup could be an interesting older Green Lantern.
But he's already the Flash.
But he's already Barry's father. So
that's right. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah. That's
so
right.
If you break it down, we got Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the comedian, is Batman's dad. Mm-hmm. We have who is it that plays Orm? Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
Then we have. Somebody just named him.
Billy Crudup.
Billy Crudup. Dr. Manhattan plays Flash's dad, which is a complete if you read the comics, that's insane that he did that, because now it just blows my mind even more. Did Zach know that they were doing the timeline for the button and the whole thing? You know what I mean? That shit's fucking crazy. Well, I mean, we go back to Rebirth #1 when it first came out. That
it could create quite a paradox if you insert Rebirth and Watchmen elements into the story later on down the line.
So let's see. Let me just pull up the cast. Just pull up the cast. Watchmen cat. That's not how you spell it.
This is a preview on the Lightcast show.
Cast. You have to do a movie cast, yeah.
You're now watching
Jeremy Irons.
Lightcast.
All right, here you go. No, I'm curious because I think this would be interesting. So we have Flash's dad, Orm, Batman's dad. Who would Matthew Good and Jackie Earl Haley play? You know what I mean? If we thought, did we ever
Matthew Good would play
Jackie would have been a great Dr. Savannah. But I mean, of course, that wouldn't be, that's not.
You gotta get Rorschach
Zach's
in there somewhere.
But
Jackie, we were talking about Scarecrow earlier. I'd like to see Jackie as a Scarecrow.
Yeah, either as Scarecrow or maybe Clayface.
Yeah, or Mad Hatter.
Oh, yes, that's even better.
Yeah, he could play Mad Hatter.
See that?
Or he could get jacked and he could play Hush.
Well, she was already the voice of Man of Steel. Carla.
Yeah, she played the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then what about Ackerman?
Is that Spectre?
I don't know. That's a good question.
She could
an
play
Amazon.
She could play it. No, she could play a Green Lantern, but she would play
that's an older Supergirl.
It's an older Supergirl. I don't know. I just think of those things when you guys talk about it.
So today, I don't know if everybody saw the story about Patty Jenkins talking about Wonder Woman 3. How she's holding off on developing it. And she said specifically that she wants to do an Amazon movie first.
Right.
Before moving forward with the Wonder Woman 3. Have you heard anything about that, Matt?
That she doesn't want to work on Wonder Woman 3?
Not yet.
Yeah.
She has an Amazonian or Themyscirian movie that she wanted to.
That's what I just said.
The Amazons. Amazons, not the Amazons.
That's why she's not or doesn't want to direct or is not too interested in directing Wonder Woman 3. She says she's going to produce it, but she hasn't really decided that she wants to direct it.
That's because it's going to be in the Snyderverse, and we already know how Patty feels about the Snyderverse right now.
She's very appreciative to Zack Snyder for hiring her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's, so she has to kind of wait on that.
Right.
Got to wait and see how all that turns out before she moves ahead with a Wonder Woman 3. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but a lot of people thought that Amazon project died, but she specifically said she mentioned that project, the Amazons. So I really
this
believe
could be
there's some
pretty
steam
good right
behind it.
here.
Yeah, Malin Ackerman playing Barry's
Oh
mom.
yeah, that'd be if that happens
because she hasn't been cast yet.
And then cut up and Ackerman being a couple in a movie again.
Yeah, and then she dies and he gets arrested. Dr. Manhattan killed her. Like that's crazy.
Dude,
That'd be crazy, man.
We all knew he did it. I know, but yeah, I agree with Todd. Todd had a good point. I think Patty has nothing against Snyder. I think that she just wants to.
Oh no, not at all.
100% on board.
She was just playing the.
It's just funny to see her on the beginning.
And she wasn't a part of it.
Wait, not to cut you off, Ryan, but I'm going to cut you off because it's funny that we see that we see.
No, you're not. You're not cutting me off.
Yes, I have to. It's funny that how we see how earlier we were talking about Jodie's corner, and it's funny how you see Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins at the beginning of Jodie's corner, and you see Gal Gadot hug Jodie, and you see Patty Jenkins say that it's her favorite channel, and they don't even know Jodie's name.
They have no idea.
In fact, the funny part was when Gal Gadot said, "Watch this guy's channel." Okay, so if you think that that's actually an endorsement, Jodie, I don't know what to tell you.
What we need to take that clip and then zoom it and crop him out and just say, "Watch this guy's channel." We just use that. We got an endorsement for Patty.
Yeah, there you go.
We got Joseph heated up here.
Whoever hosts the episode, just say, "Go to this guy's channel."
Well, I find it interesting because the way that Patty talks about it is, she had all these things in line, and then now Zack Snyder's Justice League's coming out. Things are being postponed during COVID. We're probably going to see Tenet push back again. But, at the same time, that might push Wonder Woman back. It's just one after. It's a domino effect. I hope not. I hope everything's safe.
So.
I've been dying to watch Tenet for a long. Well, they just canceled. They just canceled the New York theaters opening up in Phase 4, I think. So. I truly hope nothing changes and they just release Tenet, and I've been dying to watch that fucking movie.
I'm going to say something controversial here. Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84 and Tenet, in my opinion, are going to go VOD because theaters are not going to be ready for those movies. It's just not going to happen. And if you push them any further, you're going into 2021, and at that point, you're stacking the deck, and you're just going to make it harder for yourself.
Well, they have to come out this year.
That's what I'm saying. And movie theaters are not going to be ready because, unfortunately, the thing we're going through right now, cases are going up,
it's
not down.
Exclusive drive-in.
So it's
drive-in theater.
I'm thinking there's going to have to be some kind of VOD thing worked out in order for these movies to
making a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Good to play the Reverse Flash. I'm down with that. I'm totally with that.
You gotta make it good though.
It goes back to that Patty Jenkins. She wants to do the Amazon show, which I'm 100% for. And if she did it for HBO Max, I'd watch it. But to see her not do Wonder Woman 3 and get that ready for production, that means the slate has changed.
Yep.
That means things are being reorganized. Things are being reorganized, and so if we were to put them in a particular order, we have to look at what's going to play on HBO Max, what's going to go to theater, what's going to be HBO Max, what's going to go to theater, and how the stories are going to flow. The stories doesn't have to be a straight continuity. However, Zack's films is a straight continuity. That's the narrative that's being told through the Justice League. However, when the other characters do their thing, they could do their thing. Hell yeah, do their thing. Batman wants to fight fucking, Man-Bat in the sky or Deathstroke and Joker.
That'll be contained though, but like I said, the Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's kind of like that's a cinematic universe movie. The Flash, a multiverse movie that affects the whole cinematic universe. So Warner Woman has to kind of fall in line after that, right?
Well, I mean, The Flash is going to follow behind Zack Snyder's Justice. Right. So that, you know, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. I don't want to give too much because then I'm going to get yelled at. So if we go to The Flash, right, and we see The Flash, I mean, just put it together. Zack Snyder's Justice League, what comes out after that?
Continuity-wise, it'll be Flash.
You know what I mean? Continuity-wise, within the time frame would be the Flash. Even if Black Adam comes out before it, Black Adam's going to be an earlier version of his origin of how Black Adam was created. Because Black Adam is a very interesting character. His character,
definitely,
is hands down one of my favorite characters to read about because he is so ingrained into history that it's crazy.
And they're pulling the JSA into that, so that's going to be interesting too. But
that'll be interesting when they start doing Thanagarian things, like like Matt was saying. What were you saying?
That's what you said. So that Amazon series, Matt. But a lot of people, when we talk about the Amazon, I think someone had the question: is it a series or a movie? I think it could possibly be a series. I'm not sure, Matt. Did we hear anything about that?
What? I was doing Brady Punch.
It's always the opposite. Look at the opposite.
I would like look up and Matt would look down.
What was the question? I told you.
When she talked about the Amazon series or the movie, she said specifically movie, but we know right now that we have the era of streaming possibilities. So most likely that could be a series.
It could be a series broken up into a series rather than a film. Because a series they can get away with a lot more, and they can put it on HBO Max. A film, they can still do it as a film. I mean, Zack Snyder's Justice League is a film. I mean, and they could do it that way and just put it on HBO Max, or run it in theaters. I mean,
and that's a prequel, right?
Yeah, the Amazonian.
Yeah, that's about Wonder Woman's mother, right?
Yeah, it's about. It was really evolved around the mother and the
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta, and what was the Robin?
Robin Wright.
What was it? Fuck.
Grail?
Audience, viewers, they know. This is a nerdy channel. They'll get it. If I will. Her character. It's about them prior to how they kind of evolved as, sisters.
Which would be interesting, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be great. I'd be super down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I hope Dwayne doesn't take control of DC movies like he's done in the past. They're not going to do a Paul Walker Fast and the Furious thing going on here with the DC film. Right. I'm pretty sure Black Adam's not going to be driving a fucking drifting, of 357,
over an ice shelf.
Yeah.
Oh man, is this the question, Matt?
No, that's not a good question at all.
Oh my goodness.
Antipia. Is it Antipia? Antipio? Yeah, that's it right there. Antipy. Is it Antipy?
Antiope?
Yeah, you might get it before
Penelope.
Did you say antelope?
Penelope, because they say Penelope.
Oh my god.
Who says that?
That is the guys from Super Troopers. There was a movie that came out. It was with I think it was called like Death Island or something like that. With Bill Paxton. The Broken Lizard guys did a movie with Bill Paxton. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty good.
Club Dread?
Club Dread, yeah, that's the one. Yes.
Club Dread. That movie's ridiculous.
I like the live action Pac-Man game.
Oh, the doggy.
Yeah. He likes to hang out.
That's the scooper.
Yeah, this is the scooper. If you want scoops, get it from this guy right here.
Is that a Yorkie?
What is it? No. What, a Yorkie? What do I look like? No, this is a mini golden doodle.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Just looks kind of like the Yorkie my wife had for a while, so I just seen it through here. Yeah, my bad, my mistake. Forgive me.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah. So what do we have here, Sil?
Yeah, just winding down. We're at the 207 mark.
We are.
Well, y'all are. I'm at the 137 mark.
Yeah, you came in late. I was going on your 2 hour mark.
I apologize for that.
But yeah, we are at the 2 hour mark. So we should wrap things up. We want to save things for Matt and Zod tomorrow. They got to have something to talk about.
Guys. I didn't want to have to bail on you, but I got to get going. So.
All right. So, hey, let's go ahead and go through the panel, I guess, and we shall reconvene next week, 7:30 Eastern time. 4Nerds will be on Dawson's channel. Dawson, why don't you start us off with the signing out?
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for hosting this episode, and thanks to all the people in the chat. Another great episode of 4Nerds. I want to thank our good friend Matt for being on our episode today. He's always a pleasure to hang around with and talk with. Just some shameless plugging. Check out my channel, Nerdy in Many Ways. You can see the name right here. I just posted a song cover on the channel right before the stream went live, so go and check that out. Also, I just launched my Teespring merch store. You can get some awesome t-shirts there. Be sure to check that out. And yeah, thanks again for being in the chat, guys.
Cool.
All right. And Sil, we'll go ahead and plug you since you showed up. You showed up. Thank you.
We showed up. Hey,
Eventually.
I'm going to do better next time, team. But we got my tag here at Sil Abdul at Twitter, writer with the Culture Nerd. So we're going to be hitting y'all with a lot of articles coming up. I got my friend in the chat in Human Quake. We're doing some collaborations. They're into a lot of music and everything. And Human Quake, if you hear this, go ahead and put your channel in the chat there so we can follow you. But it's gonna be a lot of exciting things because I'm building up to my YouTube channel. So we're gonna have some exciting things coming.
Is that 2021?
It will be this year.
It will be this. Confirmed. You heard it here first.
All right, Matthew, go right ahead and plug yourself. Where can we find you?
My name's Nick. I'm from the Nick Katana Show. You can check me out right here.
That don't sound
right. No, you guys know who I am. I'm Matthew. Check me out at Lightcast. We have a show going on tomorrow. Yeah. If you don't, then now you do. If you don't know, now you know. And you can check me out. I have a show tomorrow, live stream with Taylor Murphy with the Cultured Nerd. We're going to be talking about a lot of things that are new, upcoming, things that a lot of people haven't heard about. And we're going to be doing a follow-up to pretty much everything that we have talked about back in March to now and where we're at. And we're going to be giving updates for a lot of things. We're going to be clearing some air for a lot of people. And also I have that way. I got Zod. Me and him are going to be talking tomorrow. And that episode's not going to be dropping until next Friday. That episode's going to drop next Friday. So
awesome.
That episode will drop on July 3rd is when that episode drops. I don't do live episodes, and we'll talk about that, Zod. And there's a reason why I don't do them. So I have an actual reason. I don't just do it, not because I'm naked.
That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I wasn't sure. For some reason, I just thought you always did. You know, your streams were always live.
No, fuck no. If they were live, dude, oh my God. You know how many times I would probably get in trouble?
You already got in trouble, but I may show up at the end of Lightcast the night stream tomorrow. I'll find a way to crash his panel, so you know.
There you go. All right, Zod, where can we find you?
I'll talk to
All right,
Taylor.
and you can find me with you guys, the 4Nerds, and you can also find me on the Zod Ryder Show on Tuesday nights on psn-radio.com as well as on SoundCloud and Spotify podcast. And tomorrow I will be on Lightcast, recording at least with awesome. My psychically linked friend Matt over here. This is awesome.
So we're gonna play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon tomorrow. I'm gonna do that.
Dawson doesn't understand that. Dawson doesn't know that.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. That's great. I think this was a great show tonight, guys.
It was wonderful. Thanks for coming, Matt.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming, Sil. We appreciate it.
And calling me uncultured, not knowing who Kevin Bacon is.
Anytime y'all have me, you know.
Yeah.
Again, Sil,
what a guest.
Sil, you are the 4th nerd, man. That's what you are. You're the 4th nerd.
All right, this week I am.
I appreciate it, guys. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Zebra check out my other content. If you're a DC fan, Star Wars fan, whatever. We have a lot of stuff for you to peruse through. And we'll see you next week, 7:30 Eastern time on Dawson Nerdy in Many Ways channel. Thanks a lot.